and Thrift Barringer.
Good morning and welcome, everybody, to another edition of the SportsVisions Morning Show. I am Walter and Betty Jones's baby boy, Daryl DJ Jones. Thrift Barringer, who happens to be Coach Bush's grandson, is the award-winning producer, and he is in the building. What's up, man?
Good morning, and it's good to do finally a Monday morning show after a great weekend, and ready to rock and roll, talk sports with you, D.
Well, good morning, Columbus. Good morning, Columbus and surrounding areas. We are so happy to be with you. First and foremost, let me just say hello to everybody out there in Facebook land. We appreciate you being with us this morning. We, of course, going to have our cup of Joe here, and again, we just enjoy waking up to you. This has been a brand new experience, and we've enjoyed every ounce of it. Of course, for the last week and a half, kind of come and go that we've been with you. But the fact of the matter is that we have really, really enjoyed being here in the mornings, and we're going to continue to do so. And we've been hearing from a lot of you, and we want to continue to hear from you. And again, we know that you could be anywhere else, but you're here with us, and we don't take it for granted because we are here to entertain, to, of course, educate and inform you on the goings-on in the world of sports. And want to make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that the SportsVisions Morning Show is on the air now, and that's right now. And for all of our lovely friends out there in WLTC HD2, SportsVisions 92.1 FM, we love you, and it ain't a damn thing you can do about it.
Hello, somebody.
Thrift, let's get this party started, man. I tell you, just a little bit under the weather, but I'm back. I've nursed myself, Miss Candy, and I've had the opportunity, of course, pumping in all of the good things all the niceties that you need to, coming out of a blizzard. And I just, again, it got me. Got out in the snow, and I know a lot of people got out there as well, and was playing around, getting snowball fights. But you get that old head wet when you're a little long in the tooth and you don't quite recover as well. But you know what? We made it through it. But I definitely want to make sure that everybody out there is safe and happy, and of course, back at it, because again, we are back to normal here at the SportsVisions 92.1. And again, how was your weekend?
It was excellent, man. I enjoyed every second of the snow. I'm with you on that, DJ. But because of being in the house and not having much to do and not having any games, I enjoyed a week of really not doing anything, and made up for it on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Non-stop have I been going, and it's going to be the same way this week because all those games that got postponed last week because of the snow, DJ, got rescheduled to this week and next week. So we are just playing catch-up right now. So I know it's about to be a grind, but looking forward to it. I love every second of being able to call games. And I also want to make mention, yesterday we had Baseball Media Day. I want to say thank you, DJ, for coming out and support and seeing and being there and covering the event. 12 high schools. We scheduled 15, but 12 high schools showed up with players, their coaches, and they really appreciated it. And we appreciate CVCC for allowing us to be there. Appreciate you. And even Gerald Bedgood came and hung out. I love G. Bedgood. Anything baseball related, D, he's going to be there. But thank you again for being there, D.
My pleasure. And again, you guys, I want to commend you on obviously organizing and executing a wonderful media days. And it was very orderly. And again, I was able to stop by for a little while and, of course, hang out with you guys. But, I was really appreciative of all the coaches that took the effort to get their kids out there. And again, I know that, this is something giving them a platform to talk about their programs, but I was really impressed with the Northside Patriots, man. They came in suit and tie, and man, we're really impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. And they're led by Tracy Powell, longtime coach at Hardaway, who retired, come out of retirement after being an assistant coach, still involved with baseball. And he says, listen, if we're going to dress for success. I love that, man. I love the jersey look, but I also love it when you get suited and booted, as you like to say, D. And they came in suited and with confidence. That's another thing I took away, D. A lot of young men yesterday came in with a lot of confidence, spoke very well, articulated themselves. I like every one of the schools, every one of those coaches should be proud of how their players represented their program and their school.
I know a lot of folks are saying, hey, why are these guys not opening up talking about of course, the great conference championship games that went on last night? Well, you know what? We are going to talk about it, but obviously this is a live local show. And again, we are definitely going to make sure that we talk about our local athletes, our local coaches, our local sports. And obviously, we'll get to that. And, of course, I'll start right now by saying congratulations to the NFC champion, Philadelphia Eagles, man. They were just outstanding. I made the call on the show actually yesterday over at CVCC when I joined you, Thrift, on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live. You asked me who did I think would take, would move on. And obviously, I said as long as, of course, Patrick Mahomes is healthy and in good spirits, and he's pretty much has, a dynamic structure around him, it's going to be hard to beat the Chiefs. And of course, the Chiefs were able to beat the Bills. Unfortunately for the Bills, man, that seems like that's been the story, and it's been going on for a long, long time. Yeah. They lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. And here we are now in the Pat Mahomes era, and again, it's just one of those unfortunate things. But they played hard, just didn't win. Congratulations again to the Chiefs. And over on the NFC side, of course, when you got a guy like Jalen Hurts, how can you cheer against him? How can you root against him? I mean, he's a guy that if you followed his career, his story is going to be just one of those really impactful documentaries, if you will, especially if he's able to win a Super Bowl. But the Eagles were able to outlast, their opponent yesterday. And again, when you talk about the Washington Commanders, nobody expected them to be there. No. And so it's nowhere to go but up for the Commanders. And, I think that in 2 weeks, we're going to have a nice, really, really, really nice Super Bowl down in New Orleans.
Yeah, I can't wait for it, DJ. But I'll tell you this. I picked the Bills all year long. I really felt like there was something different about this team this year with Josh Allen. But I'm done betting against Pat Mahomes. I'm putting him in that Brady category. This is 5 Super Bowls in 6 seasons. Ever since he's a starter, he at least makes it to the championship game. This run is even better than the Brady run. And Brady won 3 Super Bowls in his first 4 seasons, but not 7 straight. He didn't do the 7 straight conference championships to the latter part of his career. Mahomes doing this at the beginning of this career. All he knows is winning. He is liable to break every record and go down as the greatest quarterback of all time. If he wins this, you got to start saying that. That would be 4. He would now be ahead, in my opinion, of Peyton Manning in the category of the best quarterback of all time. You got 4 Super Bowls. You still got another 10 years left in you. Are you kidding me? And to win 3 straight that no quarterback has ever done. And on the flip side, I wanted the Commanders to make it because I'm tired of the Eagles. And that's just me. But Eagles are the best team. And Saquon Barkley is dominant. Jalen Hurts, how can you root against him? Like you said, the running game has been phenomenal. The defensive line just shut down Jaden Daniels, and we're getting a Super Bowl we got 2 years ago. But I think luck may be on the Eagles side, and I wonder what's the overall. How are people in the country going to be? Are they treating the Chiefs like the Patriots? Are they rooting against them, DJ? That's my question.
Yeah, I think that they're hating on the Chiefs. They're hating on Mahomes, but at the same time, you know what? They're saying that out of the back, in the back of their mouth. But at the same time, they really, really admire what he's been able to do. 9 straight playoff wins. It's a record right now, again, and it's unbelievable. But you know what? They have an opportunity to do something that nobody has ever done, and that's to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. And again, you talk about, all the great quarterbacks. You talk about the Terry Bradshaws. You talk about the Tom Bradys. It's incredible that you right now here so early in his career that Patrick Mahomes is he's the flavor of the month. He's the flavor of the day. And again, I know people don't like, everybody, that old saying, everybody loves a winner. That's not necessarily true, but
absolutely not.
You just can't find a whole lot to say about, what's wrong with this guy. And again, he's done it with, without a whole lot of fanfare, if you will. I mean, obviously they do things the right way. Andy Reid, he and his coach, Andy Reid, they've just been sensational. This combo, again, they are the epitome of what a championship is all about. Great quarterback, great coach, great karma. And you never hear any bad stories about the team, nobody getting in trouble, nobody being boisterous. It's just amazing. And I think it's a good American story.
I think it is too, man. And this has been a dominant run. I don't know if it ever stops as long as Mahomes is a quarterback. And if you're Andy Reid, I mean, maybe he wants to go after Belichick and get his 6th Super Bowl. He's going to maybe get number 4 this year. So it's going to be fun, but I do not sleep on the Eagles. This is a good Eagles team. I know they've had their ups and downs this year in terms of like bad publicity, but the overall field production, they've been dominant these last 8 or 9 weeks. And what a performance here in the playoffs to take down the Commanders the way they did last night.
I want to take a little time to talk about Saquon Barkley because, again, I think that what he's doing is obviously changing the dynamics of the thoughts of the running back once upon a time. Here it is, and he went into the game saying to everybody that would listen that, we're going to show you that, the running back and running the ball can get you to a Super Bowl. And, I think, with his explosive runs and his powerful ways of doing business, he has taken the stock of the running back position that was, again, on the I guess it was on the slopes, on the fall.
Yep.
It's on the rise once again. People are realizing because, the NFL is such a copycat league. When a Super Bowl champion or Super Bowl contenders get to a certain level, if they're doing something a little different than the norm, everybody tries to, emulate what they're doing. And I think, first of all, that's fine. But you know what? Saquon Barkley is a special guy. And, but you got to have a good running back in order. Because, again, if he wasn't who he is, I don't think that the Eagles would be nearly as good as they are.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the running game and predicating around Saquon, using Jalen Hurts' leg, the play action, the zone reads, all the stuff that he is good at, that's a great job by Nick Sirianni and his staff. Vic Fangio coming on as defensive coordinator this year has really solidified that group that's got a bunch of Bulldogs out there flying around and knocking people's heads off. But it's been the Saquon Barkley story. And good for him finally being on a contender and being on a team that's winning, because he's been with the Giants and hadn't even come close to having this level of success. In his first season, guy puts up 2,000 yards, MVP consideration, and has his team in the Super Bowl. Shows you how talented a player he is and shows you how idiotic the Giants are.
So we have 2 weeks to get ready for the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Of course, we had last time we were in New Orleans, we were down for the Sugar Bowl. And I know that there was a lot of things security-wise that had to have been measured up. But I think that they buckled up and tightened all that security up down there with all the devastation that went on during the Sugar Bowl. And I know with, of course, the most recent snow and the inclement weather, 9 inches, of course, putting a damper somewhat on Mardi Gras, if you will, the start of it anyway. But you know what? New Orleans is a resilient city. They have gone through a number of celebrations, a number of Super Bowls, a number of great, great events. So I know that they will be on par for the taking in 2 weeks. But they got 2 weeks, and I know they've been working since the Sugar Bowl, which was approximately 3 weeks ago. And you know what? It's going to be a place to be. That's going to be a ticket to have. And these are two great teams, and I'm looking for some action-packed of the World Championship, the Lombardi Trophy down in New Orleans.
I like that it's indoors, too, with this speed, with the way that both these teams play. I think it's going to make for a pretty incredible and legendary Super Bowl. Last time the Eagles played inside, I think a dome like this would have been Minnesota when they beat the Patriots. Remember during that run with Nick Foles. So I'm wondering if that has some connotations to make the Eagles successful this year.
Well, one thing is for sure, and again, I know this has a lot to do with the teams and the way they play, but the Super Bowl is the most watched broadcast in American TV history. And you know why? Obviously, these two teams here are going to add right up to that. Oh, we're talking hundreds of millions of viewers on that day. And if you also want to know an interesting fact about Super Bowl Sunday, that it's also the second most consumption of food next to Thanksgiving, a day of the year. So Super Bowl Sunday, and of course, falls right below Thanksgiving as far as food consumption.
Yeah, people putting on parties and everything else, the wings, the pizza, should be a lot of fun. And I want to put this PSA out there for everyone listening. I know people are you getting tired of the Chiefs? Are we getting too much of the Chiefs? If this is turning like the NBA, remember they had 4 straight years of Warriors and Cavs. I don't feel that way, because greatness I like watching, and Patrick Mahomes is great. Now, I didn't really want the Eagles. I just didn't like how they played in the regular season. I thought they were a bit boring, but the way they came on here in the playoffs, they were the best team in the NFC in the playoffs. They deserve to be there. And I think they have the best opportunity of anyone to stop this run that the Chiefs are on. So I don't have a problem with it. And I think it's got the two best teams in football left. And I can't wait to watch it.
All right, coming up in the show, of course, Richard Holdridge will join us next after the break. And, of course, Bear O'Brien, the living legend himself. Of course, he is the star of PMB Broadcasting. He's the legendary, voice host of 93 and 99.3. You see the banner behind us here. This is a studio that, of course, Bear made famous here at PMB Broadcastings in the beautiful studios here in Midtown. We'll have Bear on, and we'll talk to him because he is the legendary, and he's also a fan. He's also a good friend of the show. And you know what? When you talk about doing a morning show, you got to talk to a guy like that who's done it for so long and been so good at it. And he's a sports fan. He loves himself some Braves, and he loves himself some NFL football. So looking forward to having Bear O'Brien on. Of course, Tyler Redmond with WRBL. He's a sports anchor reporter. We're going to start to initiate him back into the fold. He and Jack Patterson, both the sports director, has been mainstays on the SportsVisions radio show, and they will definitely be implemented properly here on the SportsVisions Morning Show. And also have a treat for you coming up around 8:30. He is the athletic director at Jordan High School, and, of course, most recently has claimed another title in wrestling. Russell Scott, the AD over there, Coach Russell Scott, will be there. He's my frat brother. That's right, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and he'll be here with us. And we'll congratulate Coach Scott on the great things that he was able to accomplish most recently. And again, we are looking forward to a wonderful and a fantastic show. We'll go ahead and take our first break of the day. You are watching Facebook Live and you're listening to WLTC HD2 Sports Visions 92.1 FM. This is the Sports Visions Morning Show.
If it's local, it's on the Sports Visions Morning Show with former Georgia Bulldog DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Good Monday morning for WRBL News 3. I'm Crystal Whitman. Here's a look at your headlines. Columbus police are investigating a deadly shooting on Buena Vista Road. 17-year-old Rashad Barrett, a recently reported runaway, was killed Friday night in the 6500 block. Police are asking for any information from the public. Russell County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a homicide in Pittsview, Alabama. They say that 42-year-old Travis Upshaw was found dead in his home Saturday night with a gunshot wound. The case is being treated as a homicide. An autopsy is also pending. And Columbus police are investigating a shooting near Shirley Winston Park. One person was injured Friday in the 700 block of Baxley Way. Their condition is unknown and no details have been released about a possible suspect, but be sure to stay updated on WRBL.com. Reporting for WRBL News 3, I'm Crystal Whitman.
Good Monday morning. We are tracking some showers that are moving through with those temperatures in the 40s, and those showers will stay through the forecast through midday as those readings climb into the 50s. Highs will be in the mid 50s. Tonight, rain tapers off, becoming mostly clear and chilly, with those readings falling into the mid 30s. A warmer week ahead as those temperatures soar above average. Our next rain chance comes Friday by the way of a frontal system.
Attorney advertising. Local counsel, Alexander should hire trial attorneys. Pay back and dramatization. Past results do not guarantee future results in each case.
I got people out here asking me, is Top Dog a real dog? Does he really bite people? Does he really attack? I said, what's the name of your insurance company? Call them and ask them, do they know Top Dog? Watch what they do. They might drop you. I don't even understand the question. Like, is he a real dog? Of course he's a real dog. Of course he really bites. Just ask your insurance company. They heard about him before. They got bit by him before. He got top dollar before. You ever see somebody be broke and all of a sudden pop up rich? They got into an accident. They called Top Dog. Any accident, big or small, Top Dog Law.
Lori's Furniture Express. Your expressway to save.
If you're looking for furniture, you need to shop Gorey's Furniture Express. It's the largest furniture store around with over 106,000 square feet of in-stock merchandise with new shipments arriving weekly. Locally owned and operated with everything you need from rugs to recliners to sofas and more. And that's only at Gorey's Furniture, Alabama Highway 169 in Opelika.
Hey there, fellow travelers. It's me, the Hotel Whiz. Before you go anywhere, call me day or night for hotel rates too low to publish. I'll save you up to 75% on over 500,000 hotels across the globe. You see, I've already done the research, so you don't have to spend time online trying to find the best deal. That's up to 75% off. Just call me, the Hotel Whiz. It's a free call, and you get instant access to rates too low to publish with no cancellation fees.
Make a free call now and save up to 75% off your hotel rooms the next time you're going somewhere for business or pleasure. Call the Hotel Whiz now and get instant access to rates too low to publish.
800-710-3739. 800-710-3739. 800-710-3739. Call the Hotel Whiz right now at 800-710-3739.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Every day, 12 children die from sepsis, more than from cancer. Most people don't know the word sepsis or the symptoms. Protect yourself and your loved ones. To learn more about the symptoms, go to sepsis.org.
Covering local and national sports. This is the SportsVisions Morning Show on SportsVisions 92.1. Drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Green Bay Packers. Here's DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
I got my peaches out in Georgia.
Welcome back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer, 706-324-1420 is the number to call. If you have something that you want to get off your off your back, or you want something, got something that you want us to acknowledge with regards to, hey, man, perhaps you're not happy with who's in the Super Bowl. Perhaps you're not happy with what's going on in your community with regards to, the knowledge of getting the best information out about the teams, the players, the coaches. We're opening it up. We're doing that right now, Thrift.
That's what I'm saying. We got a platform right here.
Yes, sir.
Don't make any excuses. Call in. Leave a comment.
Absolutely. Once again, I want to commend you yesterday, Thrift, as well as Richard Holdridge, who will be joining us here in momentarily on the great Baseball Media Day. And I know that, that's been unheard of in this Bi-City area, Tri-City area with regards to having an opportunity to have a platform where you can bring out, or at least the coaches in the high schools around in the surrounding areas, as well as the colleges, to bring out the coaches as well as the top players and talk about the upcoming season and some of the goals for the team as well as the individual players. And I was really impressed over at CBCC yesterday that those teams had the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We appreciate all those that came in attendance and helped us along the way. And we appreciate CBCC for allowing us to host it there. We got to do their baseball and softball programs. And I'm glad that this was able to be done and looking forward to now baseball season being kicked off here in a few weeks in February.
If I do want to ask you as well, with the different shifts and adjustments that have been made due to the weather cancellations last week, obviously this week is a big week. And I know that some people are pulling double duty with regards to making up games, and just how does that affect you and what you guys do at Georgia Alabama Sports Live?
It just makes us have more games this week, which we're okay with. Again, we had the week off last week. Can't really say much. Games like Central at Smith Station that was last week is now supposed to be last Friday, has now been scheduled to this Thursday. So we'll be there for that. Games also that have been rescheduled for Tuesday. There's some Harris County Northside games that was supposed to be on Monday. Last week is now tonight. Hardaway Spencer is supposed to be last week. That is now tonight that we were going to do last week. Unfortunately, because of conflicts, a lot of these games that did reschedule, we may not be able to do. We will make sure it's covered. We'll talk about it here on the morning show, but we're not going to be able to be in attendance to stream those. But we'll make it up for a lot of these teams because Saturday we got Columbus and Shaw, Hardaway Carver, Carver Spencers on Friday. So still got Pacelli, Calvary, a lot of basketball, but it's hard to cover everything, especially when everything gets rescheduled on the same week. So y'all bear with us, and we'll make do what we can.
Another event that has had to have an adjustment in the schedule. I know that the Carver Tigers block party of the state championship football team was moved from last Saturday to this Saturday coming. So I know that a lot of the folks were excited. I don't know how many people got the word, but I do know that this was something that came about. And again, the inclement weather and a lot of the things that were happening last week because of what you couldn't control. Obviously, you couldn't control the weather, but you had to make sure that, and that was a good call. That was a good call to make sure that the folks of course, at Carver have an opportunity to really celebrate these student athletes and coaches as well. So Saturday, 12 to noon, food trucks, vendors,
all of it,
bands, of course, dancing girls, of course, the cheerleaders, the whole 9 yards. This is a way for the community to show their appreciation. And this is a fundraiser as well for the Carver Tigers, of course, to purchase their rings, their championship rings. And they were, it doesn't seem like it was 4 weeks ago, but they were at the Georgia Dome, not Georgia Dome, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta for the AA state championship.
Yeah, put your money where your mouth is, DJ. Everyone, put your money where your mouth is, and that's how you get in. Coach Coffey said you have to show proof of donation. Donate by going to their the GoFan and everything else that they have out there, and make sure that we can see that you donated. And we hope to have you there on Saturday. I know I'm going to be in attendance. DJ, you will be too. Glad it's going to happen. Weather should be perfect for a great event.
Absolutely. Without further ado, let's go ahead and do this. Let's bring on the MVP of this week for SportsVisions as well as Georgia, Alabama Sports Live. He's the Swiss Army knife, Richard Holdridge. How are you, sir?
Oh, DJ Thrift, I am doing great. Getting up early this morning. I'm just excited to be on the SportsVisions Morning Show with you guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, you have definitely, done yourself good and earned the respect of the community by, not only the years that you put in with your programs before, but even more so now with all the up-to-date updates. I just put it that way. All the updates, all those in the way that you're able to broadcast, the way that you're able to articulate and get the points across. You make these kids feel and coaches feel like, they are definitely on another level, which obviously Georgia, Alabama Sports Live does. Yesterday, again, as I commended Thrift, you guys did a wonderful job, of course, handling and hosting the media days. And what was your takeaway from yesterday's media day?
Well, the players and the coaches are just excited to get on the field. I know that the inclement weather probably had them at a standstill, and I know getting ready, and they're getting ready to play some games even next week, just to get in the spotlight like they did last year, and just getting to know some of these teams that we're going to see in action, because we know that baseball here in the Columbus area is a big deal, and I think that these players are ready to go, and they are comfortable talking to the media. This is the second time that we have done Baseball Media Day, and I was just impressed with the way that these teams are just fired up about the season, and then some of the matchups that we're going to get to see, and they're excited about that as well.
Now, I know I just asked Thrift about the cancellations and due to the weather in the previous week, but how do you feel about obviously catching up, and you had a little time to catch your breath? But you know what? You got to do a little double time this go around.
Well, I knew that this week was going to have a lot of rescheduling, and we had pretty much a whole week off after MLK Day. We had about 3-4 days off between games, because we did do the Calvary Brookstone game on Friday, which was the only game in town. We had a lot of people there, but we know that the cancellations have moved this week to be pretty much the crazy week, where you have games almost every single day. You even have a game on Wednesday. I think Jordan is taking on Shaw, and we know that Muskogee County needs to reschedule these games because the season's about to end in a couple of weeks, so you got to get these games in. So some of these teams might be playing 3-4 times this week, and then they're trying to spread it out and try to get more games in next week, because you got to get all these games in before the region tournament. And same for the private schools. They have a little bit of leeway, but you're talking about a Glenwood team, a Pacelli team, Calvary, Brookstone. that they've got some schedulings they got to do, but they have a little bit more flexibility. As far as Russell County, Smith Station, Central, they're pretty much following the protocol of the Phoenix City and the Lee County school systems to try to get these games in. I know that every time we get the notification that they have canceled school, like they did on Thursday, all activities for the public schools are completely canceled. That's why we didn't get any games on Friday. There was supposed to be a lot of games that are scheduled on Friday, but they're going to get moved to this week and next week. But, we'll go ahead and we'll adjust our schedule, and we'll try to get these games in.
Now, Richard, we were talking last night, kind of let's do an updated on the standings that are happening and talk about some of the top teams. I'll start with the boys. Richard, you can do the girls. We got Pacelli. They're 29-game winning streak now, DJ. 17-0 this year. They obliterated a young Harris County team this past Saturday. So this is going to be got a tough stretch. They got 4 consecutive road games. Calvary, Strong Rock, a really good Midtown out of Atlanta, and Brookstone. But they'll be favored in every one of those games, and they look like a team that's going to go undefeated and may not lose a game the rest of this year. Carver's ranked number 1, Sandy Spill. They're the best team in the Muskogee County region right now. They are 15-2, and they are looking like the favorite. So that could be 2 state championship teams. And then the Central Red Devils are second behind a really good Hoover team. But I think this year, Central takes down their rival Hoover after losing the semifinals and the state championship to them these past couple seasons. The Gators, Glenwood plays a big game tonight to see if they win their region. Both the girls and the boys are on an 11-game winning streak. They have the second longest winning streak behind the Pacelli Vikings. So the Lady Gators and Gators playing excellent basketball and trying to win a region championship tonight. So we got some really good teams in our area, but those are the favorites right now at making deep playoff runs. Isn't that right, Richard?
Absolutely. And then on the girls' side, you got to think of the Hardaway Lady Hawks as the favorites to win the 2A championship. Remember, they went down from 4A to 2A as they were very close to beating the Baldwin over in Milledgeville last year in the 4A championship. And they're going down into 2A, and they're undefeated in region play. They're playing great at the right time. Their record is 12-6. And Coach Kelly Ellison's got a deep team that went to the state championship last year. Same team that went to the Final Four 2 years ago. So you got to put Hardaway as the favorite. The Pacelli girls, even though they're not ranked number 1 in the GIAA, they are the defending GIAA champions. And even though right now Athens Christian is number 1 and George Walton is number 2, I think that Pacelli's got a good path to at least get to the championship and be right there at Columbus State University once again. The Central Lady Red Devils, led by their leading scorer, Jabria Lindsay. Now, they are second in their area behind Auburn, but they can make a deep run in the state playoffs if they get a favorable seeding. I like their chances. And then I know this is kind of a rebuilding year for Coach Anson Hunley and the Carver Lady Tigers, but you always got to put them in the mix because he's got a young team, but he's got talent that just needs experience. They need to get the playing time. He did lose a lot of seniors from that Final Four team last year. And then we've got some up-and-coming teams that could sneak into the playoffs. So you got a Columbus team that's right there on the border, and you know that Spencer is going to be there in the mix. So that region is tough, especially with Sumter County, which is the only school in the region not from Columbus, and they're trying to fight for a playoff spot. And how about those Russell County Lady Warriors? They're have improved over the years, and they're trying to get in the playoffs as well.
If I want to ask both you and Richard this question here, because again, you guys have the opportunity of broadcasting these games, and again with the repetitions that you have, obviously it's just basically night after night, male, female, boys, girls. Thrift, the question is, do you get more excited about calling a boys game or girls game?
That's a tough question, DJ, because it really depends on where I'm at. If I'm at Hardaway, no offense to Coach Mills' team, and he knows it's a rebuilding year, I'm excited for the girls because they're a team that could win a state championship. But on the flip side, it's been a little bit of a down year for Coach Hunley and Carver. I can't wait for the boys game. It really depends on where I'm at. But as a former player, I just get excited because when I see I am a boy and a man. When I see the young men out there, it reminds me of my playing days. It gets me super excited. But there is some elite girls basketballs that we have in our area. I'm super excited about seeing Jabria Lindsay. I know the boys' game is going to be a lot of fun because Central boys are great, but Jabria Lindsay is the best player in this area, hands down. And we've only got her one time this year. Looking forward to seeing her again. That's a WNBA prospect in the making, and that's going to be on Thursday at Smith Station. What about with you, Rich?
Well, when I'm calling a girls and a boys game, I really enjoy both, and it's hard to pick. I know with the girls' games, they are very smart basketball players, fundamentally sound. I like when the coach draws up schemes for some screens and some give and goes. But you kind of observe the fans, and I totally get it. Like the majority of your fans start trickling in when it's time for the boys' games because they like those high flying dunks, man. I think that they are more captivated by just the dunks and then just the boys is just very high flying and very fast paced, but two great games. And I enjoy calling both the girls and the boys games.
I tell you, you know what? You hit it on the head when you said that, the fundamentals of the game, the women, the girls, if you will, they really, you can tell that they go the extra yard. They study the game a little bit more. They don't rely as much on their physical abilities as the guys do, because again, if you running and jumping and dunking, obviously that's the name of the world we live in right now with that, the oohs and ahs come with that, but also the 3-point shooting. You could get away from the basic fundamentals of what basketball is all about. So, in your own right. But I do want to say this with regards to, what this community has been able to experience for quite some time. And that's elite female basketball playing. And I know that we've had the opportunity, Thrift, on a number of occasions of calling some terrific state championship caliber ball games,
Yep.
and you guys have, the same with you guys.
Yeah, exactly. I think these last couple seasons, girls basketball has even been more dominant than boys basketball has, and especially the amount of players like Olivia Cochran that go on and make it. We're playing right now for Louisville, but now it's slipping off the top of my head. The girl that just got drafted, Richard,
Jessica Carter.
Yeah, Jessica Carter out of Harris County, played at Mississippi State. I mean, we don't have any NBA players, D. We haven't had an NBA player in a long time. We've had some guys that go on to play professional overseas, which is awesome, but no NBA players. We got WNBA players. We got high-level D1 players that are contributing to teams that are making Final Four runs at Louisville, like Olivia Cochran. The girls basketball is where it's at. Boys are starting to get there now with Jacoby Hill and Tony Montgomery both signing D1, which was the first time in a long time in a while. So I'm excited about it growing because we got some phenomenal freshmen, but girls basketball has had that for quite some time.
It's no secret. Obviously, we talked about it over the years that once upon a time, it was just a lull of it was just a down time period as far as boys basketball players having the opportunity to go to the next level. And I know that the girls in the area that outnumbered the guys by 3 to 1 versus going to D1 schools in the area. But obviously, that cycle goes back and forth, and now I think it's up on the upswing for the guys.
Yeah, I think exactly right, and I think it has to do with the young talent that's coming through. Glenwood's got an 8th grader, and Braylon Alexander, second leading scorer on the team. This guy, it was phenomenal. Had a game-winning shot. That an 8th grader getting valuable varsity minutes. That's a big deal, DJ, playing in the public school sector. Freshman phenom TJ Woodson, Xavier Davies. Richard, you've seen it. It's been a ton of great, talented young guys that are going to be phenomenal when they become seniors, just like Tony was when he was a freshman. And now, look, he's signed D1. Same thing with Jacoby Hill.
I've talked to several coaches in the area, and their philosophy is if you can play, you can play. It doesn't matter what grade you're in. I know where I came from in my area, I had a basketball coach who was loyal to his seniors. He made sure his seniors got all the playing time. And then your underclassmen, your freshmen and sophomores, well, they could have been good to play on varsity, but they were playing on the JV team. And that's why he didn't win a whole lot of games. But in this area, when you have talent at the 8th grade level, at the 9th grade level, and you could play right away, like we've seen with these young players, like TJ Woodson at Carver, Xavier Davies at Northside, Braylon Alexander at Glenwood. Charlie Spann for the Calvary girls. And think about that. She's an 8th grader. And we saw Jabria Lindsay play as a 7th grader for the Central Lady Red Devils. I think that really speaks volumes in getting them the valuable playing time, and they're just going to have a long career in high school basketball. And really, when you spot talent early, give them that opportunity because they deserve it. And if they help you make your team better, then that's what it's all about.
Well, guys, I tell you, as you are calling these ball games, is you have a front row seat because you guys are going to be, the ballot winners or the guys that have the ballots when it pertains to the San Mark Bi-City Basketball Awards that will be coming up on March the 20th. That's Thursday, March the 20th. That's a little bit better than 8 weeks out. And, of course, the San Mark Foundation will have the opportunity to honor and celebrate the top male and female high school basketball players here in the Bi-City.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Glad it's going to be here this year, DJ. Looking forward to helping you host it and put it on, and glad that Sam and Mark can give back as they always do. And we're going to have a couple, maybe some team championships, some excellent players. It's going to be tough voting for these, and but I'm glad we've been able to see all the action here these last couple months.
And of course, as always, I take great pride on making sure, and I know you do too as well, Thrift. These young people, these boys and girls basketball players, having the opportunity to meet and see as presenters the guys that have covered them, the guys that and the girls who have called their games, being a part of this celebration, and look forward to that part of it, Richard.
Absolutely. I was really honored that I got to be part of the St. Mark Basketball Awards luncheon. The last time it was being held, and I got to meet Mark Upshaw and Sam Mitchell, which I was in awe of. Probably the 2 greatest basketball players to ever come out of Columbus putting this on. And I love how Mark and Sam really give back to the community. They have their summer leagues over at CSU, and I think that when you think of basketball in Columbus, you think of the 2 players that really dominated this sport in the 1980s, and then Sam Mitchell would go on to have a great NBA career with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Indiana Pacers. Unfortunately, Mark Upshaw, he would have had a great NBA career, but I know that playing at Rhode Island, he had injuries, but you knew that the talent was there and that he was going to be something special in the NBA. And I know that they have been just lifelong friends that just given back to this community, and I'm just honored to be a part of it, just to recognize these basketball players here in the Fountain City.
So do keep that note in the back of your minds. That's Thursday, March 20th, 11:30, down at St. Luke Ministry Center. That's the 3rd annual San Mark Bi-City Basketball Awards. And, of course, that's presented by SportsVisions. Boy, I tell you, I want to say Aflac. I'm proud to say that because they have done so much for both the boys and girls luncheons that we have done, football luncheon as well as the female athlete of the year. But this one will be presented by SportsVisions, and looking forward to it. But, as we continue on, I know that a little bit later in the show, we'll have an opportunity to talk about a guy that is kind of an unsung hero in these parts, but I'm really glad that we have the platforms, and you guys had him on last night. Russell Scott, athletic director over at Jordan High School, but we're going to have him on here about 8:30 and just going to celebrate him a little bit and let everybody know that don't know, because again, sometimes wrestling and other sports don't take front stage with regards to when you're talking basketball or baseball or football. But these are some ancillary sports that are very important, and we can't pour them down your throat, but we definitely can use our platforms to shout out these coaches and these athletes that do play these Olympic sports.
Yeah, exactly. I've had the privilege of knowing AD Scott for a while now, and we've had him on our platform as far as sitting down with an athletics director and what he is building at Jordan. I know there is a lot of pride, a big alumni, big fan base that supports Jordan athletics, and it's great just to see the wrestling team doing so well. He's had success in cross country and track and field, and then you see that the community rallies around Jordan athletics, whether it's baseball, football, basketball. I mean, we've seen the talent and we've seen improvement throughout the years, and Coach Scott is just doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, he is. And he always dresses for success too, D. I told him he's about the sharpest dressing AD we have in our area. He's always suited and booted and really a very well-respected man that has done a great job at Jordan.
Absolutely. Looking forward to him, guys. Hey, Richard, we appreciate you stopping by. And, of course, you know what? You're always a part of what we're doing, and we appreciate, everything that you add and, again, all that you do for the kids and Georgia Alabama Sports Live and Sports Vision. We're going to go ahead and take another break. You are watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2, Sports Visions 92.1. This is the Sports Visions Morning Show.
Stay tuned. More local and national sports coverage next on the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1.
Have you downloaded your mobile driver's license yet? If no, why not? The Georgia Digital Driver's License and ID is available in your Apple, Google, and Samsung wallet. It's free, secure, and easy to use. Download it today to skip the line when you visit a DDS center. To learn more about Georgia's digital license and ID, visit dds.georgia.gov. That's dds.georgia.gov. Message from the Georgia Department of Driver Services.
Attorney advertising. Local counsel, Alexander Shahara trial attorneys. Paid active dramatization. Past results and not guaranteed future results in each case.
I got people out here asking me, is Top Dog a real dog? Does he really bite people? Does he really attack? I said, what's the name of your insurance company? Call them and ask them, do they know Top Dog? Watch what they do. They might drop you. I don't even understand the question. Like, is he a real dog? Of course he's a real dog. Of course he really bites. Just ask your insurance company. They heard about him before. They got bit by him before. He got top dollar before. You ever see somebody be broke and all of a sudden pop up rich? They got into an accident. They called Top Dog. Any accident, big or small, Top Dog Law.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
What I remember most is the loneliness I felt, the separation from other people. At the end, drinking was no fun for me. Since I've started to attend AA meetings, the greatest gift is that I've become reconnected. I'm part of life again. I really like myself, and that's wonderful. AA is a miracle in my life.
Visit AA.org for more information and download the Meeting Guide app to find a meeting near you.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
In 2017, our daughter remarkably sang her way to the finals of America's Got Talent.
But the real miracle is that she even made it to the stage. When she was 4, she survived sepsis.
When it comes to sepsis, remember, it's about time. Watch for T, temperature that's abnormal. I, signs of an infection. M, mental decline. E, feeling extremely ill.
Take the time now to learn more at sepsis.org.
This message is brought to you by the Armed Forces Vacation Club, a free membership travel hub for active duty military and veterans. The club provides a well-deserved escape during challenging times or post-deployments, or for cherished family moments. This exclusive travel club grants access to discounted 7-night resorts and savings on over 600,000 hotels, rental cars, and more. Discover the world for free at afbclub.com.
If it's local, it's on the SportsVisions Morning Show with former Georgia Bulldog DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
It's not that I don't want you here. It's something about the way you stare into my eyes.
Welcome back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer. Big shout out to Richard Holdridge. Tell you what, Richie Rich is a very, very special guy, man. I tell you, I haven't met many people with that much energy, that much enthusiasm, that much pride he takes in broadcasting and celebrating these young student athletes and coaches. And I tell you what, he that's why he's on our team.
Exactly. Appreciate him coming on after a long day yesterday, but he wouldn't have any other way. He loves doing this, D.
Absolutely. All right. Coming up at the top of the hour, I tell you, we got to have opportunity to talk to a legend. Bear O'Brien, one of our brothers here at PMB Broadcasting. And of course, he's a longtime radio legend, Hall of Famer himself here in the Chattahoochee Valley. He has been around. And again, you talk about morning shows. We have just started this morning show, and I know that I can't make it official unless I bring on the dean of morning shows in the Chattahoochee Valley, live morning shows, that is. And that's Bear O'Brien. He is, I guess, a very, very good friend, special person to the Sports Visions Nation. He's a huge Braves fan, so obviously we know that even though he's a country music DJ, the fact of the matter is this guy is so well-rounded, the Thrift, and you got to appreciate I watch his show, and I love all the different faces and the different variety of people or personalities that he comes out with, because he does a little TV. He does he tells jokes. He's a comedian, and he keeps you up on the topics of the day, and I just enjoy it. And he does it all with a flow and with a passion that you can appreciate.
He is a legend. He is someone that I had the pleasure of knowing and working with here at PMB Broadcasting. He is the best of the best. There is no doubt when you talk about Bear O'Brien, he's got a loyal fan base. People love listening to his morning show. And I've always been impressed with what he's been able to accomplish in his life, and just everywhere he's been, he's touching gold, man.
And just to be quite honest with you, I want to pick his damn brain, because obviously the guy that's done it this long, and he's the voice of Piggly Wiggly. This guy is he's special. He's special, and just as humble as he can be.
Exactly. He's just about as down home as you can get, D.
Absolutely. All right, Thrift, your favorite here. Let's talk about these Auburn Tigers basketball team. They're number one in the country. They got Janai Broome back. Of course, we thought that he might have more problems with his ankle, but he came back with 16 points and 13 rebounds in Auburn's big victory Saturday over the Tennessee Volunteers.
I was so impressed with him and how he was able to play with that ankle sprain against one of the tougher defensive teams in the country, who was ranked number one for 5 straight weeks in the Volunteers, to come back after being injured for 2 weeks and to put up that performance. And they needed every single minute and second of it. To find Miles Kelly in the corner at the end of the game for them to win. It was a gritty win. It's a win that Auburn has dominated everyone in their wins this year. They haven't had a close one except for actually at Houston. And Iowa State. So this year's team learns how to win in blowout. They know how to win if it's a close game. If they can't hit shots, they can rely on their defense. It's why they're number one team. And it was an incredible atmosphere that I would have loved to be a part of on Saturday night in Auburn.
Had a chance to catch up with Mike G, who obviously is on the Auburn beat with, of course, his program. And, didn't get to chat as much, but he said it was on fire. He said it probably was as noisy in the arena that he's ever seen it. And again, that's saying a lot when you're talking about the Auburn Tigers. Bruce Pearl, I'll tell you what, man, he's over the roof. He's over the moon with regards to the respect that he's brought to that Auburn basketball program.
Exactly. He is. I think he's doing the best coaching job this year. So he's looking like he's going to win Coach of the Year. Broome's going to win National Player of the Year. And this is the year for Auburn. And I'm just hoping that translates into championships, because you can have an incredible regular season, win the conference tournament, DJ, and still lose in the first round and get upset. We've seen it so many times because of the parity in college basketball.
Auburn is at the pinnacle as far as the SEC and the top 25 AP Associated Press poll. But you know what? There's another 8 teams that are recognized and represented. But at the end of the day, the prognosticators, if you will, saying that we will get 13 teams that could be in for the NCAA championship, or at least the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and that would be a record too, if that happens. No conference has gotten more than 12, getting 13. That's unbelievable. But, teams like Georgia, they're starting to lose games because of the top team, us having the Florida and the Tennessees, the Alabamas, the Auburns, and they're beating up on the bottom half of the league that was so strong before the season started. Georgia's now lost 4 straight and 14-6 since being 14-2 ranked in the top 25. They need to get back on the right track if they want to have a chance to make the NCAA tournament.
Last question I have for you before we go to the break is, who would be the best team that you think in America that's not in the SEC?
Iowa State and Duke. Auburn played both of them, lost to Duke at Duke and beat Iowa State. But Iowa State and Duke, they're playing really good basketball. Houston's another team, by the way, Auburn beat, that all 3 of those teams are playing their best basketball. Houston and Iowa State playing the same conference, so they're going to be playing each other. Can't wait for that one in the Big 12. But Duke's got the best player and best prospect in Cooper Flagg. And the ACC's having a down year, too. So I don't know if they lose another game, and they may end up being the number 1 overall seed because Auburn's going to lose again. And depending on how many they lose, and Duke playing in a worse conference, they're going to have a better record. They may end up being the number 1 overall seed, but I don't think that means that they're battle-tested to win it all this year.
All right, coming up at the top of the hour, our big brother, our friend, Bear O'Brien. He'll be with us, and we're going to pick his brain because he is
Love doing that.
A legend, man. Let me check this out. I'll just wait because, again, I just got so much. I'm just oozing to get to Bear and ask him some great questions about a morning show.
And he'll get fired up about his Braves, his Falcons. Can't wait to get on with Bear O'Brien.
All right. You're watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2, Sports Visions 92.1 FM. We are your hometown sports guys.
Show you when you're mine,
Sports Visions 92.1.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded.
With hers, you can access doctor-trusted weight loss plans, like compounded GLP-1 weekly injections with the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy. Based on pricing through hers, save up to 91% per month with compounded semaglutide, the same active ingredient as the name brand drug. Get started at forhers.com/start today. That's forhers.com/start.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the GHSA and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
This message is brought to you by the Armed Forces Vacation Club, a free membership travel hub for active duty military and veterans. The club provides a well-deserved escape during challenging times or post-deployments, or for cherished family moments. This exclusive travel club grants access to discounted 7-night resorts and savings on over 600,000 hotels, rental cars, and more. Discover the world for free at afbclub.com.
In 2017, our daughter remarkably sang her way to the finals of America's Got Talent.
But the real miracle is that she even made it to the stage. When she was 4, she survived sepsis.
When it comes to sepsis, remember, it's about time. Watch for T, temperature that's abnormal. I, signs of an infection. M, mental decline. E, feeling extremely ill.
Take the time now to learn more at sepsis.org.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
But treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
WLTC HD2 Casita and W221DP Columbus. You're listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1. Now back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Here's Denver Broncos 1987 AFC champion DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Radio Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer. Big shout out to our main man, Richard Holdridge, who's holding it down. Richard is a Swiss Army knife, and we love him so dearly. He's a reporter. He's anything we want him to be, anything we need him to be. And you got to have people like that around, and if you're going to have a successful radio program. Speaking of successful radio people, programs, man, I want to introduce to you the pride and joy of Meriwether County, nearly 40 years in the game, my hero, Bear O'Brien. How are you, sir?
Look at me sporting my DJ Jones here. Look at me now.
Yeah, I love it, man. Welcome. So glad to have you here, Bear. We're so delighted to be a part of PMB. And obviously, I met you 7 years ago, and I've known you prior to that. But when I came to PMB, you met me, with open arms, and you loved me, and you haven't let me down, man. I appreciate you. And now that we started this morning show, with you being such a legend, obviously, you got so many nuggets for me. I just appreciate you.
Man, I love you and I love your family. I did the first time I met you. You're so, you welcome people in as soon as they meet you. Now, Thrift, I can't say so much for you.
Love you, Bear, man.
Yeah, but I was just thinking about the hair thing when I was watching you. I'm getting ready to go on because I'm thinking it's each end of the spectrum. DJ, you sporting it right. And then you got Thrift over there. Looks like Rapunzel.
Listen, I got to let my hair down too, man. But Bear, love you, dude. I appreciate you coming on. You know what you mean to me as a young and up and coming broadcaster. You've done this with everyone. You're a legend. Dude, you're accomplished. You could turn your nose up at people, but every young broadcaster would be me, Morgan Taylor, Jay King. I'm just talking about people I came in with. All of us. You have added an open door policy. And it means the world to me, just like DJ's done. Y'all don't have to do that, but you want to do it. That makes it even more special.
Well, I'm telling you this, brother. Y'all make it easy. And the God I serve, and I know y'all do too, tells me to be open and to accept and to welcome people in. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm not trying to preach at you, but that's it. And if it's working and people, I want you to be able to do and have the fun I've had in radio, but accomplish some great things. And it's different now. I got in the business 47 years ago. So,
wow.
So a lot of the things I could tell you, you'd laugh at. But still, Morgan Taylor, as you mentioned her, she's gone on to so many greater things, and you never know what commercials you'll hear her on nationally. But anyway, all I'm trying to say in a roundabout way is thank you. God bless you, brother. And if I can get positive words from anybody, it just makes me love you even more. So, and I know y'all are going to do well. This show is going to do great. I'm so glad, not just the show, but the station. We got a local sports station now. Y'all knocking it out of the park, to make a baseball reference.
Man, I thank you so much. But Bear, you know what? Before we get into the heavy lifting, I gotta, we've been calling you legend. We've been calling you all kind of things. These folks like, you know what? There's a lot of folks that know you there, but there might be a few people who've been living under a rock who doesn't know you, who might not know you. But the fact of the matter is, why don't we go back in time and just walk us through this wonderful 40-some-odd year or however long it's been, because it's been a hell of a lot longer than I've been alive, that you've been in radio.
I was watching you in 1980. Get off of that. I was watching what you were doing, brother. I could see you nationwide. Well, 1978, I was in Manchester. I was, my first dream, and I don't want to get too deep into this. Y'all stop me if I do. My first dream was to be on stage doing something. I thought I was the world's greatest drummer. I thought I'd be entertaining. I could see me on stage. I was, freaking out over Elvis, and I just thought, either that or radio, because I've been sitting in the front of a radio since I was about 13. I used to put a little Zenith stereo, I'd open up the speakers, and I would talk. And I'd do that old disc jockey thing. Hey, how is everybody? And I would do that, and then I'd say, and here's a brand new song from Elton John. And I would actually hold the microphone up and record the whole song. At 13, I didn't know, as if somebody was one day going to go, oh, I want to hear that. But I would do that. And so I thought, I either want to be in entertainment, rock and roll, or on stage somewhere, or radio would be fun. So it was kind of like a dream. And I ended up in Nashville, and I auditioned with a very big group, a gospel group in Nashville that was very successful. They were friends of mine, and they needed a drummer. And I went up, and he told me the day after, he said, look, we're not going to be able to use you. I said, well, how did I do? He said, well, now, if you want me to be really serious with you, he said, we had 10 drummers try out. You came in 10th. And he said, you don't have a tight enough bass foot. And there's several things. And you know what? He said, I apologize for having to tell you that. I said, no, this is a godsend. I was at a fork in the road. I needed to know which direction to take. I said, I'm going with radio. I don't have the time to put into trying to relearn and do the entertainment thing. So my local station in Manchester, everything over there is named after FDR. So WFDR radio, my dear friend Jeff Tate and Sharon Brady, they both helped me at a young age to be able to get in. And that's where it all started. And then I ended up going from FDR over to Barnesville, Georgia, at WBAF. And then I ended up in Homestead, Florida. DJ, I always tell people I was in Miami because, Homestead, I was in Miami. And then, of course, from there, 3 or 4 stints in Montgomery, Myrtle Beach, Lexington, Kentucky, which was a lot of fun. But every time, after I ended up in Columbus in 82, every time I've ever left, my dear friend Jimbo Martin, and y'all know him well. You love him like I do. Yes. He's radio. He was, with the Woodalls and other names that came in and brought radio to Columbus. Jimbo was a part of all that. And he's been my friend so many years. So many times I would get on the phone and go, Jimbo, this just didn't work out. And he'd always say, look, this is great. It's like hearing it from your dad. And I don't want to get emotional, but Jimbo would always say, come on home, boy.
Yeah.
And so, and this time he was a little different. It was, 15 years ago, 16, I called him from Montgomery and he said, all right, I'm going to tell you, come home this time, but if you leave me, I'll kill you. So I've been back this long. Plus, after you get to be my age, if you got somebody that loves you, that's good because folks ain't calling you, offering you jobs. But anything you want me to fill in the gaps with, Thrift, DJ, I'll be glad to. But that's basically it. God has just blessed me. I'm so glad he finally brought me into country music. I got a little wacky in the 80s. People know I did. And I started to get in the ego thing. I really thought I was somebody. And it's like I told God, well, because I was a born again Christian at the age of 14. But at like 1982, it's like I had a conversation. Said, Lord, I'm going to put you on the back burner. I'm doing good. These people in Columbus love me. I'll get back with you. And the Lord will laugh at you and let you do that. He will. He'll go, okay, let me know how that works out for you. And so about 1989, my life was in ruins. I could go into that deeply, but it just was. I was going through a divorce. My parents were going through a divorce. I was ruining my radio show, and it was time to go. And I left then and wanted to go into stand-up comedy. I had a few friends in comedy help me get in. And for the next year to year and a half, I did several states, about 22 different states in comedy. I was not hilarious. If I was, I'd still be doing it. But anyway, I remember one night, and this is when it was a life-changing moment. I was in a hotel somewhere in Des Moines, Iowa. It was like 30 degrees below zero wind chill. This old country boy never felt anything like that. And I'm in like a Motel 6, and it's like 2 a.m, and I'm going through so many emotional things. And I get in front of the mirror, and I just broke down. I started talking to God as if Bear O'Brien, and my real name is Wade Collier. It was Wade having a conversation with God. saying, how did we get this far? How did Bear O'Brien ruin my life? I mean, it was really, really, and I was in tears. I mean, and finally, when you get real quiet, God will speak to you. He doesn't tap you on the shoulder. This is the way I believe. He doesn't sit on the bed with you. He'll speak to your heart. And he spoke so loudly that night and said, hey, why don't you come back and let's do it the way I want you to?
Yeah.
Why don't you do radio the way I want you to? And let's see. And that's when I went into country radio. It was about a year later that it finally worked out. But I went into country radio, and that's where God turned everything around. And I wanted, instead of me being Mr. Conceit, thinking I was it, I wanted God to be it. And I wanted to be able to tell everybody about his goodness and his love. And through country music and through the way I'm trying to live my life, I just pray every day that the message is getting across. And this will teach y'all to ask me a question, because I just took 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. You know, you're absolutely fine, because when you got something to say, I want to listen and I want to hear and I want to learn.
Me too.
My thing is, Barry, obviously with all the success over the years, and again, your genres that you've been a part of in music, sports have always been a part of your programs, a part of your life. You're a sports guy, and you're not embarrassed to tell it. Sports galvanizes people. It brings people together, all races, all ethnicities, all tax brackets, man. And again, you as successful as you are, you know what? I would be in, at a Sugar Bowl, or I would be at a SEC championship game, or I would be at a media days event, but you would always find time to invite me in to share with your listeners, what was going on, boots on the ground, wherever Sports Vision was. I appreciated that, because not a whole lot of, people or jocks would, again, embrace that opportunity.
I've always loved it. I was raised a Braves fan, a Falcons fan, and I always tell everybody, because you guys are sports announcers and sports, you're professional sports people. So you can talk stats and you can talk facts, and my son can. My son never played sports, but he can tell you who was traded yesterday. He can tell you who the Braves are going to have on the mound this year to replace Max Fried. He can do all that. I've always told people on the radio and on Facebook, don't get upset with me. I'm just a fan. When you hear me talking, there's so many sports people that know a lot more than I do. They'll get on there and correct me and go, well, Barry, you need to know that so-and-so, and this is so-and-so. And I keep saying, stop. I'm just a fan. But I always love people like watching you, DJ, and then watching you develop your career. Once you left football and came into sports, and I used to watch on WRBL, and I followed your career. But Scott Miller, he was the first person. Scott used to get so tickled at me when I'd be on the air and I'd start ranting about the Braves. I get so mad about a game they lost, and he would just open my door and grab a microphone and go, would you hush? Anyway, I've always learned so much from him. That's why when you asked me to be on the show, I thought, goodness gracious, don't get me started talking about sports, because as a fan, I can just tell you how I felt about a play. Like yesterday, I think Patrick Mahomes' greatest pass was when he tried to spike the ball in the end zone, threw it past the 10. I mean, but I'm just a fan, and I hope that answers your question, because I'm just a fan, but I love sports, and there's only 3 or 4 sports that I really get into, but I love you guys that I can watch and go, wow, how did they know all that? And they didn't just read that out of a book; they remember those stats, and they remember that batting average. So I get so impressed with you, and I'll go back to 1983. No, I'm sorry, 1978, 79. Just got out of Manchester High School, and Jeff Tate was doing the local Manchester Blue Devils football. And we were okay back then, but we didn't have the success they've seen lately. But he wanted to know if I want to do color on the radio. I thought, well, sure. Yeah, I'll do it. Here again, I'm a fan. We won. We were in the playoffs, and we went over against R.E. Lee in Thomaston, one of our big rivals, and we had a 28-0 lead at halftime because we had played wide open football all first half. And so I'm sitting there and I'm trying to talk, and I don't sound that good on the radio, but I'm just trying to talk and be the color guy. And all of a sudden, we decided to play conservative second half. We got beat 31-28, and I threw a fit. I threw my headphones across the room. And Jeff told me, he looked at me, he said, we're live on the radio. You can't do that. I said, man, that sucks. And so I threw a fit. That was my last night being color man in sports. So that's when I knew sports wasn't my thing. But I did. I let my emotions get to me. And then there's my hometown team. I just left high school, and my hometown team got destroyed like the Falcons did against the Patriots. And I lost it. I did. I busted a set of headphones. You'd have been proud of me.
Bear, I got to ask about the persona that is Bear O'Brien, because you talked about your name being Wade Collier. How did you go about that process in becoming what it is now, which is in legendary status? Everybody knows Bear O'Brien. How did that process go in creating that personality? Because I feel like we all have to have that when we're getting into the content creating business that we are in. How did that process go? How did you come about with this name? I'm really interested, and I know everyone else is too, on how all that came about, Bear. I know you got a great story for it.
Well, you know what? I wish I had an answer where I could just say, well, I used to have an uncle. His name was Bear. And so I think the answer is I was never one for nicknames in school. I'm not kidding you. We had Killer, we had Crusher, we had all the high school, and I hung out with the football players and knew most of their nicknames. They all had really cool nicknames. I never wanted one. I didn't detest them. I just didn't want one. So I didn't know. So I mentioned to you, I was in Miami, but it was actually Homestead. I tell people I was in Augusta, but it was actually Rennes. Rennes, Georgia's a great city. Small city. We had a great radio station. Jeff Tate and I were over there together too. And so I was on the air 7 to midnight. It's the first time I'd left mornings, did 7 to midnight over there, my very first FM station. And the program director, Jim Jacobs, came in one morning. He said, you know what? I love what you're doing on the air, but this Wade Collier thing just ain't going to get it. I said, really? He said, yeah, that's just not a radio name. I said, he said, let's get something new. I said, you come up with it because I can't. I don't care for nicknames, so I'd never know. He came in the next day and he said, O'Brien. Now, back in the 70s and 80s, there were some names like that, some good old Irish names that really stuck and helped people remember you. And O'Brien was one of them. If you go back, you'll see Alan O'Day, and there's a lot of O'Briens and O'Shannons and all this. And so O'Brien, he said, that'll stick. People will know it. And he said, you got that look, you got that beard, and you're the big guy on the radio at night. He said, I think we ought to call you Bear. I said, that's fine. So Bear O'Brien was my new name, and it was so bad. Walking down the streets of Rennes about the size of Warm Springs. I walk down the streets of Rennes for the next 3 or 4 weeks, and people would go, hey, Bear. And I just keep walking. That wasn't my name. And they thought, man, what an attitude this guy's got. I didn't know my name. But it took a little while, and once it did, it stuck. And here's the deal. I went through all that, and Rennes finally get to Columbus in 82. I was so proud. I had grown up listening to Columbus. I just Doug Wallace and Dick McMichael, all the wonderful names. And I finally got to work in the city with them. But I get here, and the first time I cracked the microphone at WCGQ, I said, I'm Bear O'Brien. And the next thing I know, I'm getting letters, I'm getting phone calls. They said, you better not come over here and make fun of our coach. You don't talk about Bear Bryant. I said, I didn't say Bear Bryant. But I did. It took a while for the Columbus and Phoenix City area to get used to Bear O'Brien and know that I would never, ever even try to get in the same realm with that great coach. So it took a while. But there I hope I answered your question. That's basically how it happened.
If you're just joining us, we have with us the legendary Bear O'Brien, the morning show guy for Kissin 99.3. And I tell you, Bear, this whole sports phenomenon in sports talk radio, I don't know how much you followed. I just know that you love your Braves and you love your college sports, and you open up your show to allow me to come on and expand a little bit on some of the highlights and some of the scores. But again, sports talk radio as you see it. And of course, and especially more importantly, right here for Columbus, Georgia, SportsVisions 92.1 FM, PMB. I think that this is something that is a game changer. I think it's a game changer, but I just want to get your opinion because you're the longtime successful radio guy. And you've been around for a long, long time. This city is such a sports robust city, and with Auburn, Georgia, Alabama, with all the HBCUs, the high school sports. Give me your opinion on this whole thing as you see it.
And you know what, DJ Thrift, it's exciting for me because I know for years that talk radio has been built up, sports talk, but so many people here in the Columbus, Phoenix City area will hear conversations going on, and they're just, you don't realize that they're just jumping to give their opinion. Like somebody says something, one of the hosts of the show may say some national show, or Rich Eisen, or whoever it is for ESPN, and they say something that, you're going, that's not right. That's not how it happened. And you go to pick up the phone and you try to dial into a national show and you're on hold and you may get through and you may not. People don't realize that. They got 40 people holding. They only get 2 people on. You never know that side of it. So for us to be able to hear people that are so knowledgeable, because both of you are, I respect you both. You have great guests. And that way, if you say, here's the way it is, Coach, give us your opinion. You've always got great guests. And that way people locally have a better chance of I guess y'all do guests now. Oh, yeah. Being on your show, and even if they don't get on the show, they can call in and ask a question. You'll pass that along and give them the best answer you can, or you'll find out. And locally, I think that is a fulfillment. And I think people appreciate that. Sports fans, and you're right, we are deep, deep, deep in sports in this area. I just think Columbus, Georgia, Phoenix City, Alabama, you're going to find more sports fans than you will most places. And it's a diverse crowd because, like you said, you got Alabama, Georgia Tech, Georgia, Auburn, and throw a few Clemson fans in there. And you just got a lot of folks that kind of get along. Nobody fights over it, but we all got, and I think having local sports and you guys being hands-on and making it so accessible for us to not only get on the radio with you, but also to see you on Facebook and to see you out having lunch. For people to be able to see you having lunch at one of the barbecue places in town and come up and go, man, I love what you do. I think this is amazing. It's wonderful. And y'all are just getting off the ground. And I think you're going to shoot for the stars and make it. I'm really proud of what y'all are doing, and I love you, and thank you for letting me be a part this morning.
Yeah, no doubt. And we love you, Bear. You always got me started when I was growing up every morning. Bear O'Brien and Dr. Dave. I remember I mentioned that to you the first time we met. And I was like, hey, Dr. Dave, where's he at? And I was like, man, we hadn't done a Dr. Dave in a long time. But Bear, your following, your fan base, the community, they genuinely love you, Bear. And I just want to talk about that relationship that you have with this community that is really special. You go out of your way to try to make sure everyone feels like you notice them, which is a huge ordeal in a town like this, especially with your name. Talk about that relationship you have with the community that is really special.
I don't know exactly where to go with that, but I will. It's just a great blessing. Because I don't sit out in the morning going, how can I win people over? And I was talking to DJ about this on the phone the other day. Whenever I first started doing morning shows, I've been doing them 3 or 4 years. I had a consultant. You know, we've all had consultants. And I love what he said that day because he said, here's what I want you to do. He said, when you open the microphone, visualize. And he said, I'm not playing around. Visualize your favorite person. If it's somebody in your life, it's your grandfather, your grandmother, somebody you really care deeply about, somebody you would want to show love to. And he said, if you don't have somebody, create that image. And he said, talk to that person. And if you do that, every time you talk, you're talking to that one person, but everybody out there, if there's 5 people or 5,000 people, they all feel like you're talking directly to them, and it makes it personal. And so I've always tried to live by that. And I was telling DJ, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I love my grandparents, but I couldn't pick one. So I created this guy in my mind that I can still see right now. I can see him smiling and everything. And he looks a lot like Kenny Rogers. He had the white flowing hair with the long flowing beard. Maybe that's my vision of the Lord. Maybe I don't know. It's just in my mind. As I'm talking to you now, I'm seeing that image. So I've just tried to make people feel important. You know why? Because they are. Because everybody out there, and we don't know what people are going through. I talk about the bout with cancer I'm having now. That's where the hair loss came from. Going through chemo, just had my 5th treatment this past Friday. I haven't tried to make a secret of that. It's a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and God is blessing, and we're going to get through this. But I've tried to share with people about my life and not be, I'm not trying to be Bear O'Brien, be one person, and Wade Collier be another. I just try to be open with people. And no matter what you're going through, and that's why I say the cancer thing with me, this is not the worst. There are people out there every day when people say, I'm praying for Bear. Look, there are people out there going through a lot worse than I am, a lot worse. And we just have to get each other through it. We got to pray for each other and love each other. People say, that sounds so silly, but it's not. That's what life's about.
Yes.
If we can't love each other, you know what? God didn't say we had to go and like each other, because we're going to all like different kinds of ice cream. We may not be the best friends because I don't like things like you do. So we don't have to like each other. God said love each other. And you know what? You know what, guys? That's the hardest thing we have to do. All the things God told us to do, the one thing he commanded was that we go out and love each other. And I believe he did that because he knew it would be the hardest thing to do. And if we could just show that love, and if it's somebody that you don't care for, love them, pray for them, get away from them. You don't have to spend time with them. I hope that makes sense.
Great answer.
I look at it.
Well, Bear, you certainly have blessed us this morning, brother. And if I had a collection plate, I would pass it around right now. Bear, we love you, man. And thank you so much. I'm proud to be a part of what you do here, man. And again, I'm just glad you're I'm on your team now.
Yeah, man, I've always loved having you on my team. You guys are great. I wish you and pray for you great success. Keep doing what you're doing. And if I ever need stats, I'm calling you.
All right.
Love you, Bear.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the great Bear O'Brien. Hey, we're going to go ahead and take another break. You're watching Facebook Live and you're listening to WLTC HD2, SportsVisions 92.1. This is the SportsVisions Morning Show.
Hey, baby, we don't mind all the watching. Cause if the study grows real close, then might not.
If it's local, it's on the SportsVisions Morning Show with former Georgia Bulldog DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Good Monday morning for WRBL News 3. I'm Crystal Whitman. Here's a look at your headlines. Columbus police are investigating a deadly shooting on Buena Vista Road. 17-year-old Rashad Barrett, a recently reported runaway, was killed Friday night in the 6500 block. Police are asking for any information from the public. Russell County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a homicide in Pittsview, Alabama. They say that 42-year-old Travis Upshaw was found dead in his home Saturday night with a gunshot wound. The case is being treated as a homicide. An autopsy is also pending. And Columbus police are investigating a shooting near Shirley Winston Park. One person was injured Friday in the 700 block of Baxley Way. Their condition is unknown and no details have been released about a possible suspect, but be sure to stay updated on WRBL.com. Reporting for WRBL News 3, I'm Crystal Whitman.
Good Monday morning. We are tracking some showers that are moving through with those temperatures in the 40s, and those showers will stay through the forecast through midday as those readings climb into the 50s. Highs will be in the mid 50s. Tonight, rain tapers off, becoming mostly clear and chilly, with those readings falling into the mid 30s. A warmer week ahead as those temperatures soar above average. Our next rain chance comes Friday by the way of a frontal system.
How would you like to receive money for your car that you don't need anymore? When you call the Sell Car US hotline right now, we'll come to your location. Within a matter of days, we'll offer you a fair price for your vehicle and we'll remove it for free. How great is that? You don't need to go anywhere. No people stopping by your house to look at your car, wasting your time on test drives. We come, we offer you a price, and pay you immediately. Call the Sell Car US hotline right now to arrange to have one of our representatives come right to your door and tell you how much your car is worth. Cars, trucks, vans, running or not, we'll make you a deal. Call this number right now.
800-625-1332. 800-625-1332. 800-625-1332. That's 800-625-1332.
Attorney advertising. Local counsel, Alexander Shahara trial attorneys. Paid active dramatization. Past results and not guaranteed future results in each case.
I got people out here asking me, is Top Dog a real dog? Does he really bite people? Does he really attack? I said, what's the name of your insurance company? Call them and ask them, do they know Top Dog? Watch what they do. They might drop you. I don't even understand the question. Like, is he a real dog? Of course he's a real dog. Of course he really bites. Just ask your insurance company. They heard about him before. They got bit by him before. He got top dollar before. You ever see somebody be broke and all of a sudden pop up rich? They got into an accident. They called Top Dog. Any accident, big or small, Top Dog Law.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
In 2017, our daughter remarkably sang her way to the finals of America's Got Talent.
But the real miracle is that she even made it to the stage. When she was 4, she survived sepsis.
When it comes to sepsis, remember, it's about time. Watch for T, temperature that's abnormal. I, signs of an infection. M, mental decline. E, feeling extremely ill.
Take the time now to learn more at sepsis.org.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone,
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
but treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
Covering local and national sports. This is the SportsVisions Morning Show on SportsVisions 92.1. Drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Green Bay Packers. Here's DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Kane is in the building.
Welcome back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer. Big shout out to our good friend and our brother, Bear O'Brien. I tell you, man, you know what? This guy's such an inspiration. He, has been in the radio business a long time, been successful, and you know why, because he is real. He's as real as it gets. And again, having a guy like that to lean on and to confide in or to just talk radio business and just talk life in general. It's always special to have a guy like, of course, Bear. And again, in my process of course, putting this morning show together and this radio station together, of course, with we've had a lot of counsel and a lot of good friends and a lot of people that have helped us. But I tell you what, Bear is one of those guys that you definitely value because he has been in the business and has gone through the ups and downs, the good sides, the bad sides. He knows how this whole thing works. And again, more importantly, he talked about how important sports talk radio has become. And why he, again, because again, think about it, Thrift. We talk about it all the time. You got Kissin 99.3. It speaks for himself. Bear doesn't need any. He doesn't need me to. I don't give a damn where I am. He, if I'm at the Super Bowl, but it makes sense to Bear. And if it makes sense to him, a guy with this much success, why bother? I mean, this is a great example of how sports galvanizes, the community.
Exactly. And this guy's a legend, and we appreciate him always supporting. He's a big sports fan. I mean, people that like country, that like pop, that like top 40, they like sports too. They're not just music fans, and it makes sense to have up to date what's happening around the sports world. But he's a great storyteller. He's funny, and you see why everybody loves him. And him coming on the show, didn't know that about the Bear O'Brien name, and now I make sense. And I'm glad we got that backstory here on the SportsVisions Morning Show. By the way, download the SportsVisions radio app right now in your app store. We also want you to be able to go and look and listen after the show to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It'll be commercial free to hear the entire show. That is every time we go live, and I'll be up later on this morning. Also, the SportsVisions Facebook page and YouTube channel, we're both live on. I want to give some shout outs to Miss Candy Lowe saying, good morning, SportsVisions Morning Show. Good morning, Aunt Candy. Richard Holdridge says, what is up? Also, thank you to Diane Brown, who says, tuned in this morning, enjoying SportsVisions. Hello, Diana Brown. We know her very well here at PNB.
Absolutely. She is a very, very integral part of what we do. Obviously, she is works in a department in this company that, it makes a difference when you talk about all of that logging in, all the billing and all that good stuff that goes, wow, woo, she's important. But you know what? She's such a sweetheart. She always supports our luncheons and our events, and I just appreciate her for listening in this morning.
Andre Dye, good morning. The AD and head basketball coach at Kendrick is watching, and then my baby says, good morning. Hey, Natalie. Good morning. Thank you for watching. And
good morning,
Gianna,
Miss Natalie.
FJ, if you're listening in the car, hope you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and get ready for school, and looking forward to hearing about your great day today.
Absolutely. We got to have Miss Natalie on here as well, man, because obviously, don't they have a sports program over at the Campus Academy?
Yeah, they do. We have volleyball, and we've had track. So we are trying to grow that aspect too, but kids love sports anyway. She's always about coming on anything SportsVisions related.
Absolutely. Just a fantastic start to a great morning. And I tell you, man, this is Monday morning, the first day of the week. And you know what? What a great way to start it with the SportsVisions Morning Show. We appreciate you joining us, of course, this morning. We know you could have been with a whole lot of other folks, but the SportsVisions Nation is welcoming you. And again, make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that the SportsVisions radio show is on weekdays at 6A to 9A, and we are right here. Got some great lineups to go along. We kick it off in the morning from 6A to 9A, but of course, between Dan Patrick and Colin Cowherd and Paul Feinbaum, man, you don't get a lineup any better than that. And again, with all the great teams that we are the affiliates for, the Georgia Bulldogs, football, basketball, as well as, of course, the Atlanta Falcons football. You know what? And, of course, with Westwood One, we'll be able to bring you the great NFC, AFC, conference championship game, which obviously was yesterday. However, the Super Bowl is in the future. It's coming up in 2 weeks, and hopefully that we'll be able to bring it to you right here on Sports Visions 92.1 FM. And again, Thrift, when you talk about March Madness, it's right around the corner.
Yeah, it is. And we are literally a month away from seeing when that tournament starts. It takes everybody by storm. And right now they're hitting in the meat of the conference play. It's all the teams, we got about 6 more weeks of regular season, 12, 13 more games for each of the teams before we start conference tournament play that turns into tournament play the week after. And so a lot of things to fill out. Right now, Auburn is unanimous number one. When the polls come out today, that it was unanimous last week. It's going to be unanimous this week. I don't see that changing. But everybody else is vying for that second spot. In my opinion, it's Florida as the second best team, but the polls will say Duke or Iowa State, but look forward to seeing how it plays out.
Looking forward to it indeed. But speaking of looking forward to, Janai Broome over at Auburn. Everybody, he's the talk of the town. He's back in the lineup, 16 points, 13 rebounds in the big win, as we may mention to earlier in the show. However, Thrift, I want to give you, as a basketball aficionado in my mind for Sports Visions, give me what makes Janai Broome so special.
Yeah, he's back to the basket. He's your typical big man that can score any way he wants. Great footwork, good post presence, smart with the basketball, excellent passer out of double teams. He has now been able to hit threes. You saw that. He hit some threes against Tennessee. This guy is a complete package as the most dominant and best offensive player we have in the country today. And it's been impressive to see his maturation process. Not really heavily recruited out of high school, went to Morehead State, a lower tier Division I school, was a defensive player of the year in the Ohio Valley Conference. They actually played Auburn. This was a year that Auburn had Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler, and Broome actually played really well against Kessler, who's doing good in the NBA right now. Caught the eye of Pearl in them. Pearl and his staff, and then they went after recruiting him at the end of that year. He has been at Auburn the last 3 seasons. He was all SEC last year, and this year looking like a unanimous All-American and the favorite to win the Naismith and the College Basketball Player of the Year. This guy is what you need, like an Edey last year that helped lead Purdue. You got to have these guys that help take you to the next level, and they got him because in the tournament, especially when you play these big arenas and these rims that are not very soft and shots seems like they don't fall, more pressure because more eyes are on these players than ever. You got to have someone that can just get you a bucket in a low-scoring game when all else fails in possessions. And the great teams have those players, just like Auburn now with Broome.
Well, Broome actually passes the eye test. He's 6'10", 240, and of course, but he's 22 years old. He's not like the typical, 18, 19-year-old that you would see the NBA folks going crazy over. But this guy obviously has a sense of maturity, and that I guess that goes a long way.
It does, and we've gone away. Yes, you want the diaper dandies, but building your team completely around 5 freshmen, those days are done. If you've looked in the last couple years of national championship teams, I'm going to go all the way back to that COVID year in 2020, 2021. Baylor won it. They had a bunch of juniors and seniors, guys that have been a part of the program. The next year in 22, Kansas won. Again, a bunch of seniors and kids that have been a part of the program for many years. Yeah, they had a good freshman here or there, but they weren't completely made a freshman. Duke was that year, and they ended up losing in the Final Four. But the national champions the year after, in the last 2 years, UConn. Yeah, they've had Stephon Castle, who was a great freshman, drafted number 4 in the NBA draft, but they were surrounded by sophomores and juniors that have been a part of Coach Hurley's program. That is what it is now. You need experience with a highlighted freshman, and Auburn has that. They got Todd Pettiford, who is an incredible McDonald's All-American, but they're full of seniors and juniors. Chad Baker-Mazar, Denver Joe. These guys have been playing college basketball 3 or 4 years. That matters. They have the experience. That translates to championships. That's why Auburn is in a good position right now.
I want to ask you a specific question as it pertains to the talent level in the SEC. We know we talk about football and the NIL with the most recent, things that go on with, putting money in these kids' pocket. Football is one thing, basketball is another. Do you think that because of so many great teams that we have that are represented, as many as 9, as we said, in the top 25 right now, 13 expected to make it to the get the NCAA bids, do you think NIL had anything to do with this growth or this production?
I think that had to do NIL to an extent. I think it has helped, especially the transfer portal in general with NIL. I would put both of them together. It's really helped. But I also think now more than ever, going back 13, 14 years ago, the SEC, and I think it was mandated by Greg Sankey, it was embarrassing to get only 3 teams in the NCAA tournament. Really only one that had any chance of making a run, which was Florida, that 2012-2013 year. The player of the year played for Georgia, and Georgia finished 15-17 that year. I don't know if you remember Kentavious Caldwell-Pope,
absolutely,
who plays in the NBA still to this day. Greg was like, all right, this has got to change. So he put it out to the schools. We know football's the main sport, but basketball's got to be better than this. You got to put a lot of money that you have in the sports department allocated towards your basketball programs. And you saw a switch flip 7 years ago because guys like Rick Barnes and Bruce Pearl, Nate Oates, Coach Calipari already in it, but great universities like A&M going to get Buzz Williams. They went out and actually hired guys and paying guys that are big-time coaches. Normally, they were just trying to go get the up-and-coming youngster that's coming from like a Morehead State. They were like, no, let's go out and spend some money and get big-time coaches. And that has changed the landscape of the college basketball in the SEC. I think they care more now about it. And you're seeing SEC's just got more money than everyone else. And now that they care more about it, which is why they've elevated it to one of the top basketball conferences in the country.
My next question, you've seen the fallout in recent years, obviously, with regards to the football side of things, where some of the old school guys, some of the OGs just don't want to deal with the portal. They don't want to deal with, obviously, the NIL. The same thing in basketball. You've seen some great names in the coaching ranks decided that they didn't want any parts of it.
Tony Bennett just retired from Virginia. Tony Bennett won a national championship in 2018-19. He had Virginia as one of the top programs year in and year out, #1 seeds. He says he was tired. He felt like he had kind of played his way out in the last 13 years, and the NIL and transfer portal was a reason. Jim Larinaga, and I'm talking about these two guys retired mid-season. Jim Larinaga just took Miami to the Final Four 2 years ago. DJ retires, says he just needed to step away from the program. And a lot of it had to do with the transfer portal and then NIL and really just how young players and athletes, their mindset nowadays. Coach K, Roy Williams, heck, even Jay Wright, who's not even that old. DJ ain't even hit his 60s yet.
Yes.
This guy's won back-to-back national championships. He stepped away. He said he was getting exhausted by it. Really the only big-name coach, Calipari is still there vying for it. Rick Pitino came back. This man just can't step away from the game. He's going to be 90 years old, still coaching St. John's, which, by the way, St. John's is actually really good this year. And in 2 years, he already has them as a team that can win the Big East. But Tom Izzo, eventually these guys are going to want to step away. And all the blue blood names, Bill Self, I wonder how long he's going to last because it has taken a toll because it's a year in, year out, constantly recruiting. You can never have a break. You're having to constantly recruit your players, constantly make your players feel good. Go out and find the next player. Make sure you got enough NIL money. It is a nonstop process that just burns coaches out. Same thing with Nick Saban. Now, I did see Nick Saban have an interview saying that he had completely given it up. I feel like these guys eventually maybe get an itch again, like a Jay Wright. I don't know about Coach K and Roy. They got their national championships. They're pretty good. Same with Nick. But I'm with you, DJ. I think the landscape of college sports in general has pushed away a lot of great coaches.
Keeping it right here with college basketball, Thrift, and you just mentioned some great names that coached in college basketball, and of course names that are synonymous with the GOAT, being recognized as the GOAT. Excuse me. But the bottom line is the blue bloods, as we once knew, aren't the blue bloods anymore.
Yeah.
And what do you think attributes to that?
I think. For one, everyone else caught up. I think now because NIL and the way recruiting is in the transfer portal, the blue bloods always got the blue blood and blue chip talent. And now everyone's getting an opportunity to get that. And now if they don't like not getting playing time at that blue blood school they get recruited to their first year, they'll go somewhere else their sophomore year. So there are a lot of turnover in these blue bloods. And then to be honest with you, DJ, kids nowadays don't care about the blue blood. They don't care about North Carolina and the prestige. And Duke is different. Duke's like the Lakers and like the Yankees. They're in that category of like internationally known.
But the Tar Heels are Michael Jordan.
I agree, but I just don't think some kids may do, but most kids don't. They want to go where they're getting paid more and they're guaranteed playing time. It's not about where they're playing. It's like, how much playing time am I going to get? I think that I attribute to it. And I think you're starting to see now, especially with these blue bloods, there are no more really blue bloods. Look at Jim Boeheim, who just retired too at Syracuse this past year. All these coaches are now gone. Now that you're seeing like the Auburns, the Iowa States, Duke's always up in the mix. But the top programs are having a tough time being elite year in and year out because everybody else is caught up to them because of transfer and NIL.
706-324-1420 is the number to call if you want to jump on and engage in this conversation. If you got maybe you got a reason or a thought with regards to what we're talking about. 706-324-1420 is the number to call. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk NBA basketball. More importantly, we'll talk Atlanta Hawks. Something's going on at the Hawks and Thrift. We got to talk about it, and we got to uncover what the real deal is. All right, you're watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2, SportsVisions 92.1 FM. We are your hometown sports guys.
We gonna take a ride tonight. So much. Let's slide. All right. And we gonna get it.
Stay tuned. More local and national sports coverage next on the SportsVisions Morning Show. SportsVisions 92.1.
How would you like to receive money for your car that you don't need anymore? When you call the Sell Car US hotline right now, we'll come to your location. Within a matter of days, we'll offer you a fair price for your vehicle and we'll remove it for free. How great is that? You don't need to go anywhere. No people stopping by your house to look at your car, wasting your time on test drives. We come, we offer you a price, and pay you immediately. Call the Sell Car US hotline right now to arrange to have one of our representatives come right to your door and tell you how much your car is worth. Cars, trucks, vans, running or not, we'll make you a deal. Call this number right now.
800-625-1332. 800-625-1332. 800-625-1332. That's 800-625-1332.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Attorney advertising. Local counsel, Alexander Shadara trial attorneys. Paid active dramatization. Past results and not guaranteed future results in each case.
I got people out here asking me, is Top Dog a real dog? Does he really bite people? Does he really attack? I said, what's the name of your insurance company? Call them and ask them, do they know Top Dog? Watch what they do. They might drop you. I don't even understand the question. Like, is he a real dog? Of course he's a real dog. Of course he really bites. Just ask your insurance company. They heard about him before. They got bit by him before. He got top dollar before. You ever see somebody be broke and all of a sudden pop up rich? They got into an accident. They call Top Dog. Any accident, big or small, Top Dog Law.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone,
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
but treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious. which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
In 2017, our daughter remarkably sang her way to the finals of America's Got Talent.
But the real miracle is that she even made it to the stage. When she was 4, she survived sepsis.
When it comes to sepsis, remember, it's about time. Watch for T, temperature that's abnormal. I, signs of an infection. M, mental decline. E, feeling extremely ill.
Take the time now to learn more at sepsis.org.
If it's local, it's on the SportsVisions Morning Show with former Georgia Bulldog DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Welcome back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer. Tell you what, Thrift, we've been rocking and rolling this morning. Big shout out to our good friend and brother, Bear O'Brien, the legendary Bear. Pride and joy of PNB Broadcasting, Kissin 99.3, and a whole lot of others. I didn't realize he had been in the business 47 years, man, almost 50 years. Of
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And again, you talk about PhD. This guy has several PhDs in radio, and we just proud that he is on our team, and he is a guy that I can pick up the phone. He's on my speed dial, and I can talk to, and that's been really. People say, well, DJ, what has been the success, or what has led to most of your success? And and I can honestly say, obviously, you're gifted and you're talented and you have some abilities, but, you got to have some good people around you that have done what you were trying to do, have accomplished some great things. And that's been in all walks of life. That's been on the field and off the field, Thrift. And obviously that's another thing that another feather in your cap with regards to you being around and surrounding yourself with great people. It started right at home with your parents, and obviously your granddad got you off and running. But when you get out there and you get a little, you get a little twisted, you get a little upset, or you get a little discouraged, you always got some people to fall back on to help get you back on that straight and narrow.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Isn't that what you always say, DJ?
Teamwork makes the dream work, baby. And again, you can't be shy. I guess you said a closed mouth won't get fed. And
that's your second favorite one. It's like, how you expect to get anything if you never say something or speak up for yourself?
And you can't be all things to all people. And that's another thing that I've been able to know and understand, because as my lovely wife would always say, we don't know all things in the universe.
Yeah.
And those of you who think so, you are a damn fool. Yeah. But we gotta get that fixed on your board there. I hate to see you suffering with your ears there, man, because your ears, you're the quarterback of this thing. And if there's some complications from the transmitter system to the from the coach to the quarterback, man, you're gonna have some situations that ain't gonna be successful with regards to getting the right play on and off the field.
Yeah, I got to keep fiddling with that on and on and on. But excited about what we're doing here on this morning show, DJ. And man, as we say this almost every time, we're already almost in hour number 3. I mean, it just goes by so fast. I didn't know what to expect. I was doing research on the morning show, and it is difficult getting up every day. I'm an energetic guy. Once I get going, I'm good. But I didn't know how this was going to be, and it's honestly been, I won't say a cakewalk, but it's really been enjoyable, and it's not been as hard as I thought it was going to be taking on this endeavor. I don't know about you, DJ.
It's a great experience. Obviously, again, I've always been a morning guy, and I love getting up in the morning early at 4 o'clock, and getting up and starting my day, because I would always say that I could get most done before 9, 10 o'clock than most people will get done, before they, before.
Yeah, you're always up early, D.
But I love it because, again, I get the energy. I get in here. I get it in my mind. Obviously, what we're going to talk about, and sports is just so different, and it's so motivating when you talk about everything that's possible. In life, there's something or some kind of answer or some kind of scenario based on a game, based on a player, based on a coach, based on something to do with sports that makes sense, and it just is no way around it. And I just think that it's a godsend that we have this this platform, and we just know that it's just just a blessing.
Yeah, it is a blessing, and it's a blessing to be able to show and talk about live and local that we have in our area, all the games that are going on. I know a lot of teams are glad to be back in session this week after having the snow blizzard last week, DJ.
Absolutely. Coming up in just a little bit at the top of the hour, Tyler Redmond from the WRBL Sports Team News 3. Again, Tyler has been, he and Jack, his sports director, have been with us with Sports Vision's radio show for quite some time. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and get the inaugural plug. He's going to be coming on Mondays, and Jack will be coming on most cases on Thursdays. And we look to, of course, get some great information on as not only their scheduling and the things that they'll be covering, but also their ideas on coaches and players and happenings in the Chattahoochee Valley. And they've always been tremendous. Yeah, excellent. And glad they're going to be a part of what we do in the mornings. We knew they were. We were just trying to solidify, and can't wait to have T-Red on talk about, because I don't know if you know, the spring training and pitchers and catchers report real soon. Cannot believe it's already here. Baseball season is upon us. Absolutely, we know. Well, obviously, Pete been here with us. Of course, he with the Clingstones. We've been talking and chopping it up with him, obviously, last week. And, to think that, and I just had opportunity as I was coming over to the baseball media day over in Phoenix City. I passed by Golden Park, which is now Synovus Park. A lot of improvements, man. And they've gone. I mean, they're going to be ready. I mean, they got a couple of months, but they're going to be ready. Yeah, $50 million, DJ. You know they were going to be ready for game time. No days off. No days off. Not like the street, the guys that works on the highways, huh? Oh, excellent. It takes a project to get a building or extra lane put in or a bridge. Man, that's a 5-year deal. It's a 5-year deal, and then the times that they're doing it are the worst times. Usually when they're working on the road, but every time I drive by there, they're always somebody's there working hard. So we can't wait when it opens up this spring. And I see the trailers down there too. So it seems like those guys living there. They live on the job. Yeah, so they're getting it in, getting more than their fair share of time of developing our new Synovus Park for our Columbus Clingstones. All right, you hear the music. We're going to take a short break. You are watching Facebook Live, and you're listening to WLTC HD2, Sports Visions 921. We'll be right back after this.
Flashing lights. Flashing lights.
This is the Sports Visions Morning Show.
Let's do this.
Sports Visions 92.1. Hit the road this year with incredible offers from Rivertown Ford. Unleash impressive performance and capabilities with $9,000 off MSRP. That's right, $9,000 on a new 2024 F-150 4x4 Super Crew STX. Now just $46,895. Or explore the all-electric 2024 Mustang Mach-E with up to $4,000 off MSRP on all models. That's right, up to $4,000. Plus 0% financing for 72 months for approved, well-qualified buyers. Take advantage of these offers and more before they expire February 3rd. And remember, you'll never pay retail at Rivertown Ford, both at our Columbus showroom or online at rivertownford.com. MSRP excludes tax, title, registration, license, and dealer fees. Subject to credit approval through Ford Credit. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for complete details.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance. But GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Get ready. It's almost time for the 16th annual Alzheimer's Association Dancing Stars of Columbus. Make plans to be a part of this exciting night, Thursday, February 27th at the Columbus Convention and Trade Center, all to support the Alzheimer's Association. The 2025 Dancing Stars, made up of community champions, are paired with professional partners to raise funds to support those directly affected by Alzheimer's. Visit SportsVision921.com to buy a ticket, buy a table, or make a donation today.
In 2017, our daughter remarkably sang her way to the finals of America's Got Talent.
But the real miracle is that she even made it to the stage. When she was 4, she survived sepsis.
When it comes to sepsis, remember, it's about time. Watch for T, temperature that's abnormal. I, signs of an infection. M, mental decline. E, feeling extremely ill.
Take the time now to learn more at sepsis.org.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
WLTC HD2 Kissin and W221DP Columbus. You're listening to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Sports Visions 92.1. Your home for the Dan Patrick Show, 9 to 12 on Sports Visions 92.1. Now back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. Here's former Green Bay Packer DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Welcome back to the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer, and as promised, from the WRBL sports team, Tyler Redmond. What's up, Tyler?
How's it going, guys?
Hey, man, listen, I appreciate you jumping on with us, man. And obviously, this is your debut on the Sports Visions Morning Show. And obviously, we want to share with everybody out there that you will be primarily joining us on Mondays at 8:30 as your, of course, sports director. Will be joining us on Thursdays. And again, it's just great to have you back with us, man. I know it's been a few weeks since we've had an opportunity to get together, but again, it's better now than never.
Absolutely, and of course we do it at a good time. You know, the Atlanta Braves have finally made a move this off season with Jurickson and Profar, so that's some exciting news out of Atlanta.
Good deal. But before we get into the heavy lifting, big guy, I just wanted to make sure that we welcomed you in a profound way with regards to this morning show audience and platform. Brand new folks, man. Obviously, we can't take for granted that the folks that was on the Sports Visions radio show as we knew it on Mondays and Thursdays from 4 to 6 o'clock. But this whole new experience is something that everybody's getting adjusted to, but at the same time, it's all for the good.
Absolutely. And it's a new wave for Columbus radio, sports 24/7, first time in quite a while. So credit to you, DJ, as well as you, Thrift. And it's very exciting as we move forward, for sure.
Tyler, when you talk about having a platform of this magnitude, obviously, with what you do at RBL and what you do with the Braves and your podcast, I just look at it's a great thing for all people, all parties involved.
Absolutely. Back in the day, I got my start in radio, and it's a platform that I really have always enjoyed. It's the first thing I was ever in. So it's something that I definitely want to keep a foot in. It's not my primary role these days, obviously with television, but it's still a medium that I think has legs, and I enjoy doing it with you guys every week.
Well, we appreciate you, T-Red. I know you've had a busy last couple of weeks, everything from coming on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, calling a wrestling match, to keeping up and being at all the basketball games around the area. It's been busy time for y'all, and now baseball season's upon us. I mean, I don't know how y'all do it. It's like you and Jack, y'all never sleep, man.
Yeah, you're right. We never sleep. That is true. I will agree with you there. It's been a lot of fun. With wrestling, that was cool for me because look, I wrestled and Thrift, I think you'll get this. Not a lot of people know the sport and know it, because they wrestled. It's a rarity, especially down here in the South.
Yep.
Our main focuses, of course, are football, baseball, and everything else. I mean, that's typically the way we do it. And to be able to go cover wrestling in general is a really cool thing. But beyond that, to be able to sit there and watch the matches was a lot of fun for me because it'd been a while since I'd done that. And to be honest with you, Thrift, you're sitting there, you're calling the matches, and as things progress, you're kind of remembering things because you've seen it for the first time in a couple of years, different moves and that kind of thing. But credit to the Pacelli Vikings. They went undefeated that night and gave me a lot of good things to call.
If you're just joining us, Tyler Redmond with WRBL News Team 3. He's the sports anchor reporter with, of course, Jack Patterson, sports director. And, I want to ask you this, Tyler, because obviously we had to make some adjustments and a lot of, changes last week with this Arctic blast, if you will, freeze or blizzard, whatever you call it. But the bottom line is in television, it's a little bit different because especially when you do a local broadcast, because when you don't have a lot of local and especially when it's canceled, you have to go and have to go on the wire and find something and you have to make chicken salad out of chicken soup.
Well, yeah, I'll be honest with you, DJ. I lucked out. Those were my off days last week anyway. My weekend is Tuesday, Wednesday. That's my typical Saturday, Sunday. This is my Friday, as I say it. So I lucked out last week. Tuesday was my Saturday. So I woke up, and of course, later that afternoon it was snowing, and I kind of got to just enjoy it for the most part. Wednesday, I was off as well. Coming back Thursday, you got to recalibrate and figure out what the, specifically with basketball, how are we going to do this and the reschedulings and that kind of situation, because it's really going to be a mad dash ahead of the playoffs, and I don't have all the specifics in front of me, but I do know that it is going to be a lot of games in a very short period of time because they got to make them up prior to the playoffs. So that'll be an interesting thing for us to handle. You mentioned making chicken salad out of chicken soup. I saw, our buddy Jack cut a package from home because he didn't feel safe driving. So that just tells you in the television world, you do have to kind of adjust when things like that happen because, look, I mean, it can hit us out of nowhere. Back in the COVID days, sports had to get creative because there wasn't anything going on. I want to say Jack and Rex were only covering NASCAR for a while, and beyond that, I think they started covering WWE on TV. I think they got really desperate back then. So, I mean, I'm thankful I never had to deal with that. But on snow days, sometimes we focus more national. Last night, of course, big focus on the NFL with the conference championship games and that kind of thing. So there are days where we broaden our scope, but obviously our main focus will always be local.
Tyler Redmond, T-Red, as he's affectionately known to us. Tyler, for the folks that are listening out there, this morning show experience, as I spoke about momentarily a few minutes ago, is a new experience for you. It's a new experience for us. And, of course, we welcome our old SportsVisions Nation family from the afternoon to the morning. And, again, we are just tickled to death to have a new opportunity to bring more people into the family. But for the folks who don't know you, they don't have the benefit of being a part of what we used to do and what we are starting now. Let's just start from scratch because we can't just take it for granted that they knew me, they knew Thrift, and they even know you. So I'll let you do what you do best, and that's tell everybody, a little bit about your background in sports.
Well, yeah, I mentioned my start in radio. That was in Columbus. Then, obviously, later down the road, I get my start in TV when I'm in college. I was working behind the scenes at WLTZ at the time, which was later, of course, combined with WTVM. I was a director there, worked my way up, producer, pretty much did anything and everything a TV station has to offer in terms of jobs. And then, of course, later down the road, a job opens up across the street for sports, and that's what I always wanted to do. So I ran with it and made it over to WRBL. But the whole time, DJ, you know this too, but I was doing YouTube. You know, that's where I kind of got my real start, I would say, in covering any sports. I was covering the Braves on YouTube, which is something I still do, and really proud of the product that I put together over the years. But, you know, really my start on air, any kind of on-air thing, was doing interviews. I had lined up interviews with baseball Hall of Famers, with current players, with executives, you know, why they were wanting to speak with me, somebody who had no experience and, you know, no real resume to speak of. I don't know, but I'm very grateful. That's kind of what put me on the path to where I'm at. But, you know, in terms of what I do best, I will always say it's my Braves coverage. That's the thing that I'm number one at. And it's something that I thoroughly enjoy doing.
Tyler Redmond on Deck's where you can find it on YouTube, and I'm glad you brought up the Braves because let's talk about them. Not a very eventful offseason. And by the way, when we were doing Baseball Media Day yesterday, Tyler, I had a lot of players say Freddie Freeman is my favorite player. Max Fried's my favorite player, and I started thinking they don't play for the Braves anymore, so that pretty much stinks. And not going to really get into them, but let's just give a synopsis of the Braves offseason. What's your overall feeling as we head into spring training about this Braves team that had another lack thereof performance in the playoffs this past year?
Well, you know, I think where we are right now, you throw last year in the trash can and you move on. You're not going to have another season, at least I hope and pray you're not going to have another season where you have half as many injuries as the Braves did last year. Substantial time. I saw a stat the other day where there's never been another team that made the playoffs, and I want to say this is correct. I may misquote it, but there's never been another team in the playoffs that didn't have 3 starters in their lineup in the last 40 days of the season that still made the playoffs. So that said, the Braves, you know, everything is relative, but they had a pretty successful season just making the playoffs with the injuries that they had. But as you move into 2025, you're getting a lot of those big guys back. You know, you lose Max Fried, you lose Charlie Morton, you lose A.J. Minter. Joe Jimenez is also out for the season, but you're getting the former MVP, Ronald Acuna, back. Austin Riley is back. He was out at the end of last year. So you're getting some studs back in the lineup. The real concern for me is pitching. Of course, the Braves did sign Jurickson Profar, who will be your starting left fielder, which I will say this about that move. That is a good thing for them because they were able to fill that slot permanently. I mean, it's been a while since we've had a starting left fielder and really just a starting outfield. We've been platooning now, especially in left field, for quite a while, right? Michael Harris has had center lockdown. Ronald Acuna's had right field lockdown. But in left field, we've seen Kelnick, we've seen Duvall, we've seen Rosario, you know, all kind of platooning in that spot and rotating in and out. So it's kind of nice to know that the outfield, just like our infield for the most part, is pretty much secure and set once everybody gets back and is healthy and good to go. But your pitching is your concern. The rotation, you're losing Max Fried, you're losing Charlie Morton, and you don't have Spencer Strider, I would say probably for the first month of the season, based on what we know. So you have 2 slots there that you need to fill. Luckily, last year with the injury of Spencer Strider, you had young guys develop at the major league level, like Spencer Schwellenbach, who give you a little bit of length in the rotation, but there's still a concern there. I think you're going to see a competition in spring training if the Braves obviously don't land a starter. You're going to see A.J. Smith-Shawver, Bryce Elder, Ian Anderson, guys like Hurston Waldrop, Grant Holmes. You're going to see all those guys compete in spring training for one of those spots or both of those spots until Strider gets back. But then, you have problems in the bullpen too. You didn't re-sign A.J. Minter. Joe Jimenez is injured this year. So you have a lot of concern, really, to me, on the pitching side of things. Your lineup is set. But the Braves have, to me, got to make a move or two on the pitching side of things, whether it be now or whether it be the trade deadline. And really the other thing, I did a video on this last night, Thrift, but the other thing you have to consider is the luxury tax. Nobody wants to talk about the Braves not wanting to spend money, but that's a reality in professional sports. And, the Braves have about $12 million where they're at right now to work with before being added on with that luxury tax. And I'm not going to get into all the specifics of it, but the Braves probably don't want to do that because every dollar spent over that luxury tax is taxed 50% this year because they've done it for 2 years in a row. So they're probably most likely trying to stay underneath that. So I think Alex Anthopoulos is going to have to get pretty creative with trades or maybe offloading cash where he can to make it work and not go over if that's what the plan is. And that's, at least for right now, what it seems to be.
Well, Tyler, we definitely excited about the Braves. And, when you're talking luxury tax, most people can't keep up with their own taxes, much less do they keep up with what the Braves got going on. But, regarding, North Point and, of course, the Braves' new spring training site, and obviously those guys when they report, and then, of course, when they do break up to come to Columbus, the AA Clingstones. Let's talk a little bit about your excitement in that particular transition.
Well, you bring up the Clingstones. I want to mention this too. There is a local focus with the Braves this year. Two guys, Jordan Weems signed to the Braves. Of course, we know him. He played at Columbus High, won a state title over there with Bobby Howard a few years back. And Colton Ingram, who pitched for the Columbus State Cougars, and I believe has the all-time strikeout record for the Cougars. He signed a deal with the Braves. So we'll see how those guys develop. I'm hoping to speak with both of them at spring training this season. But as things break out, in terms of who will play in Columbus, that question will be answered, like you said, in spring training. I'm very excited. A lot of people keep asking me, Tyler, are there any, high name prospects that are going to play in AA? I don't know. That's going to, be divvied out in spring training, and we'll see how it goes. I think there's potential for that. There's definitely some guys lower that we've drafted, in the past year or two that I'm excited about in single A more than likely. We may see them, move up to AA rather soon, right? There's also the chance that with Ronald Acuna and Spencer Strider both being injured, and coming off of injury, they're going to have some rehab starts and some, times in the minor leagues more than likely where they're going to make sure everything's good to go and test out their legs if you're Ronald Acuna, and if you're Spencer Strider, probably test out the elbow and see how it's playing, against professional hitters. They very well may have a couple of starts here and there in AA. That's not necessarily unforeseen, especially considering now that AA is only an hour and a half south of Atlanta in Columbus. That is part of the appeal is being able to send guys where you want. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for the Clingstone season this year, and I know a lot of people in Columbus are as well, and they should be. This will be a great, I think, ballpark experience for Columbus, something that Golden Park or now Synovus Park has needed for quite some time in terms of a rejuvenation. I definitely think we're going to get that. I'm excited to see what the ballpark looks like on opening day, and I've enjoyed watching it, grow. Because look, every time I go riding by there, I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't pull up a little closer and take a peek. I'm just as curious as anybody on how that's developing and how that's going to look here pretty soon. But in terms of what they're going to be this year, I don't know if there's going to be any super highly touted prospects coming through. I'm sure there will be, but we won't know that, at least for the start of the season, for a couple of weeks.
Well, Tyler, lastly, we've had some exciting programs, some championship programs in as far as flag football for the females. And of course, we had champions from Shelley, champions from Columbus High, champions from Central. Talk about the impact of covering flag football for the females, as well as the journey to their championships.
Well, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Anytime you're adding a new sport to your repertoire, it's a lot of fun to cover. It takes some getting used to in terms of, there is a difference in rules and that kind of thing. But really, the one that I remember, well, there's two. The ones that I really covered were Central High School girls and the Columbus High girls. And both of those squads were really good this year. Columbus fell just short of a state title. Central, though, of course, won the state title in dominant fashion. They're the number one ranked team nationally. I mean, they're very impressive. A lot of those girls are graduating this year, so it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back this next season. But no, I remember when that sport was in its infancy. When I was at Hardaway, I remember when it was just being talked about, being introduced, and to see how it has grown in our area to a level where it's a lot of teams around here competitive in it, and putting really good teams together enough to be, like I said, with Central ranked number one nationally. I mean, how often does that happen in any sport? That's a really impressive thing. And I think as it grows, we're just going to see more teams around here develop and recruit. And look, the longer it's around, the more popular it will be. And I think that's where we're headed, where it is getting to be really, really popular among the girls in our local area, because they're seeing teams like Columbus, like Central, that are doing really well, and they probably think to themselves, hey, I could probably do that. So I think we're in a good spot with flag football, and I thoroughly enjoyed covering it. And I'm thrilled that our local area is blessed to have such good talent in that sport.
Tyler, what you got planned on the docket this week? You talk about the reschedule of games, everything else happening around the area. I feel like it's going to be a busy week for you and Jack. What's going on?
Thrift, I wish I could give you that answer. I do, but it is Monday morning, and we have yet to even crack the book on that. I know for sure we're going to have high school basketball through and through. I have no doubt about that. We haven't really broke down the schedule because we are still kind of looking at the reschedulings and looking at what we need to do to put that together. I have some other feature stories I'm going to keep close to the chest that I'm looking at this week. But we have a lot of exciting things. That's what I will tell you, is we have a lot of exciting feature stories, and obviously we have a ton of high school basketball. We're also covering college basketball quite a bit. It's hard not to when the team in your backyard over on the Plains is number one in the country and plays a game like they did against Tennessee over the weekend. So we do have that, but also Alabama is in the top 5. They're number 4, at least before the AP poll comes out today. So we have a lot going on at the high school level. We have a lot going on at the college level in terms of basketball, not to mention, our local CSU and that kind of thing. So we do have a lot going on in that regard. And really with the scheduling of high school basketball, me and Jack got to sit down and iron it out and look at what we have for this week. But I'm sure we're going to be running around like crazy come Wednesday through Friday, more than likely.
T-Red, we certainly appreciate you joining us, big guy. We look forward to the continued relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, you take care.
Y'all too.
Thanks,
All
T-Red.
right, that's Tyler Redmond with WRBL Sports. We're going to go ahead and take not our final break, but our next to our final break of the day. You're watching Facebook Live and you're listening to WOTC HD2, SportsVisions 92.1 FM.
Stay tuned. More local and national sports coverage next on the SportsVisions Morning Show. SportsVisions 92.1.
Good Monday morning for WRBL News 3. I'm Crystal Whitman. Here's a look at your headlines. Columbus police are investigating a deadly shooting on Buena Vista Road. 17-year-old Rashad Barrett, a recently reported runaway, was killed Friday night in the 6500 block. Police are asking for any information from the public. Russell County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a homicide in Pittsview, Alabama. They say that 42-year-old Travis Upshaw was found dead in his home Saturday night with a gunshot wound. The case is being treated as a homicide. An autopsy is also pending. And Columbus police are investigating a shooting near Shirley Winston Park. One person was injured Friday in the 700 block of Baxley Way. Their condition is unknown and no details have been released about a possible suspect, but be sure to stay updated on WRBL.com. Reporting for WRBL News 3, I'm Crystal Whitman.
Good Monday morning. We are tracking some showers that are moving through with those temperatures in the 40s, and those showers will stay through the forecast through midday as those readings climb into the 50s. Highs will be in the mid 50s. Tonight, rain tapers off, becoming mostly clear and chilly, with those readings falling into the mid 30s. A warmer week ahead as those temperatures soar above average. Our next rain chance comes Friday by the way of a frontal system.
BK Custom Rims and Accessories, located at 1806 Crawford Road in Phoenix City, specializes in all the name brand wheels and have the best prices on tires. For great prices, great service, and good deals, get to BK Custom Rims and Accessories, 1806 Crawford Road, Phoenix City. BK Custom Rims and Accessories, along with KG Music Group, are the proud sponsors of the Southern Soul Cafe 2nd Edition on 92.1 Smooth R&B.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded.
With hers, you can access doctor-trusted weight loss plans, like compounded GLP-1 weekly injections with the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy. Based on pricing through hers, save up to 91% per month with compounded semaglutide, the same active ingredient as the name brand drug. Get started at forhers.com/start today. That's forhers.com/start.
Catch the Paul Feinbaum Show, 3 to 7 on SportsVisions 92.1. Now back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. Here's three-time Georgia Bulldog SEC champion and 1980 national champion, DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Welcome back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer. Big shout out to Tyler Redmond over at WRBL with the sports team over there. Big shout out to Bear O'Brien, our brother from another mother. Of course, Bear is a legendary jock, philanthropist, whatever you want to call him. He's everything is good. All of that and more. He, of course, is the pride and joy of P&B Broadcasting, and just loved chopping it up with Bear. And he's been a long time morning show success. As a matter of fact, he has a 47, nearly 50-year career in radio, and we just love the nuggets he dropped with Thrifted Eye this morning. Richard Holdridge, our guy, he's our go-to guy. And, of course, Richie, he is, as Thrift says, our MVP. because Richard is always available.
Always.
And he is definitely knowledgeable.
Yeah, I always going to tell him how appreciative I am for him. He's loyal, dependable, and in this business, you don't have people like that. And I have had to learn this the hard way, DJ. And I'm hoping I was this way that Richard is with me. I am with you. Is like sometimes when you have a platform, some people get in for it. Obviously, you want to grow yourself. No one can sit there and say they don't want to grow themselves, but they got to be a part of the team. If they're part of the team and help the brand grow, it's helping them grow. When you only about yourself and you pick and choose what you want to do, I feel like you're limiting yourself. For one, nobody really wants that on the team. For two, they want the dependable people, and the dependable people get more opportunities to do more things to grow their career. So I just wanted to put that PSA out there for all the young broadcasters. You get asked to do something, turning your nose up, no matter what it is. If you're not having any other opportunities and this is it, and you're turning your nose up thinking you're too good for it, man, you're going to have a tough time getting your career started.
Well, you just connect your what you call it, your thing on when the trains connect. What do you call it? You just connect with
I forgot what that's called.
Whatever that is.
Links. There we go. Connect the link. Yeah, there we go.
Connect the link up with the right brands and the right people, and then you ride that baby out. Ride it all the way out.
Exactly right.
Because
man.
again, when you connect it to right people, and that doesn't matter if you're coaches, it doesn't matter if you're in business, it doesn't matter if you're a restaurant or whatever you are, whatever your field of human endeavor is. If you're connected and around the right people, and you keep your head down and you keep digging, guess what? Good things going to happen.
Hey, great things are going to happen. And that's why I message out there for everyone. Please do that.
Absolutely. Hey, before we get into the Atlanta Hawks a little bit later on, there's a guy in town. You might not know who he is, but we're going to let you know. We're going to introduce him to him because he is a member of course, he's my frat brother, the Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated. Of course, he is the athletic director at Jordan High School, and he is also a very, very talented and former track star from Hardaway High School. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the SportsVisions Morning Show, my friend, my frat brother, Coach Russell Scott. How are you, Coach?
Hey, how's it going, gentlemen?
Going great, baby.
Here.
Going. You represent. I see you represent, baby boy. You usually, obviously, will have on that KA side shirt, but hey, you representing Jordan, which I can identify with because obviously, man, you representing a legacy and a culture that, again, we're gonna let people know about this morning. Congratulations, first and foremost, on the most recent accomplishments with your wrestling program. But Coach, before we get into the heavy lifting, as I like to say, I want to let everybody know who you are and, of course, what you have done to become the athletic director and the successful coach at Jordan High School. You were an athlete at Hardaway High School that a lot of people, we don't talk about a lot, but we're going to talk about it this morning. You were a track athlete and a very celebrated one.
Well, I appreciate it. I started my athletic career at Hardaway High School. I ran track and I wrestled there. Actually went to state in the 300 hurdles and the 110 hurdles and the high jump. Also went to state in wrestling, 135, 140 weight class. So I try to stay true to what I've been doing, for years, and that's what led me to Jordan High School.
Coach, I know the Thrift gave you. I know in the interview yesterday you talked about the sharp dressing, but again, being a presentation is everything. And again, you are a leader of young men and young women, and I love the fact that you dress for success most of the days that you're on the job. But that's just something that we came up in our fraternity, in particularly, is something that's what we live and breathe every day.
That is correct. But I put a little different twist on it because I tell my kids, this is how you should dress, when you're out in public. Our kids, they see sagging pants, all day long. So I want to get them to understand that, you can still have on a suit or slacks or a tie and still be considered, quote unquote, one of the cool kids. It's not uncool to dress nice. And we've gotten away from that. And we need to get back to it because first impressions are very, very important in this day and age. Also, Coach, you are one of the few that are still around as far as, again, who've been in the system, have been a part of a culture of Jordan High School. Of course, you born and raised, or not necessarily in Columbus, but you went to school here. You've taught here. Your career at Jordan has lapped to that. You've also coached and taught generations of folk. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I spoke on this a little bit last night. Jordan is one of the few schools that are located in a neighborhood. We're one of those neighborhood schools. And with that being said, I'm getting kids now and have been for years that, they'll come and first day of school, hey, coach, you taught my dad, or my dad used to wrestle for you, or my mom used to run track for you. So, now I'm getting those generational kids, that are coming in, and we already have that instant connection because, I taught their mom and their dads when they were in school, or they ran track, or, they were in my class. So there's that connection already from day one.
And Coach Scott, you know how much I enjoy talking to you and how much I've seen you mean to the kids at Jordan, but not just the kids, Jordan, kids around. But I want you to talk about wrestling in this area, and specifically with Jeff Battles, who's an advocate, huge advocate of wrestling, now hosting the dual state championships at the Lumpkin Center, having the dual state championships also at the Columbus and Trade and Convention Center. It's been an incredible last 2 weeks and hosting it here in our city, and he has been one of the main advocates. And I know it's awesome having an admin that believes in wrestling like that, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Jeff Battles has been basically a liaison between us and the local schools here and Georgia High School Association. And a lot of people, they may or they may not know that Jeff used to be a wrestling coach at Hardaway High School. So he understands, that wrestling in most cities and in most towns is not that, large revenue sport. But he understands that it is one of the toughest sports, if not the toughest sport out there, amongst high school sports. So, him being that advocate for us in order to get us, the recognition that we need, in order for him to get us the facilities that we need. I mean, he's really been on top of it.
Coach Scott, you made a comment yesterday, and I heard you say something that made sense, and I want you to reiterate that. But you said when you were coming up in wrestling, your coaches said that wrestling was like a controlled fight. Elaborate on that for us.
Yeah. And my wrestling coach was Coach Philip Marion, but my track coach was Coach Collins Jones. And Coach Collins Jones, he would come watch me wrestle, even though he wasn't a wrestling coach. And he said, he'd always call me Scotty. He'd say, Scotty, a wrestling match ain't nothing but a controlled fight. And the more I started, listening to what he was telling me, and I was just like, he's absolutely right. You're trying to dictate, the pace of the match. You're trying to dictate with your strength and your skill and your knowledge, on how this match is going to go. So, I mean, and when you're in there, one-on-one, and that's the other great thing about, wrestling matches, there's nobody out there to help you. You can't rely on your teammates. You can rely on them in practice to make you better, but when it comes to that competition day, it's just you and that other guy or that other young lady one-on-one out there on the mat, and you got to show and prove.
Your most recent accomplishments, and you've had many in wrestling, but your most recent, why don't you let everybody share that with the community?
Yeah, we just came back from Dahlonega, Georgia, up at Lumpkin High School, and my girls just made it to the state dual championship. My boys were at the state that we had here dual championship. And let me back up real quick. Wrestling is one of the only sports that has 2 state championships. You have one in which you can qualify as a team, and then you have another state championship in which you can qualify as an individual. So we went into this past weekend state dual championships in Lumpkin County in Dahlonega, Georgia, as the number 2 ranked team. Lumpkin was number 1. Our first match was against Lafayette High School. Did real well against them, advanced in semifinals. We ran into Gilmer. Gilmer has an awesome program, both boys and girls. We got past Gilmer, and in the finals, we faced Lumpkin County.
That's awesome, Coach. And we are so super excited about your girls. And you're not done yet. You still got another meet coming up to talk about what are the next couple of weeks going to be like as you get ready for the other state championship that you have to vie for.
Right. So in the conclusion of the girls' state duels, now everything for the next 3 weeks is individual. So this weekend coming up, we have boys and girls individual area, or some might say region. And then from there, you qualify top 4 there, and then you advance to the sectional meet. From sectional meet, that punches your ticket to Macon, which is the state meet, the week after that. So we have area, from there, the next week is going to be sectionals. And then from sectionals, we go to the state meet, provided they qualify.
You know, Coach, when you talk about disciplines that you learn from sports, and again, most importantly with wrestling and track and field, you know, there's a high tolerance of pain that you endure physically when you're training, you know, in those two sports in particularly. And, you know, again, it teaches you a lot about yourself. Can you expound on how you use, you know, those sports and how you know, use psychology wise to your athletes to help them understand that, you know what, you have to endure, you have to go through something to get on the other side.
Oh yeah. You know, they have to get, I tell my kids, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it's a cliche that you hear a lot of people say, but, you know, in a sport such as wrestling, I also coach cross country, and definitely in cross country, you know, enduring those miles every day on a regular basis, but it builds that mental toughness. And the weightlifting, the dieting, especially in wrestling, the dieting regimen, but that physical and that mental toughness put together is what we really try to stress to the kids, because I've seen a lot of strong guys and strong girls go out there on the mat and get beat because once they got tired, I mean, it was over. And once that fatigue set in, then their mental breaks. But if you can endure all the physical and keep your mental strong, then that is what's going to get you, you know, over the top right there. That's what's going to put you on top of that podium.
Coach, we talked about some of the accolades and accomplishments that you've been able to do individually as well as with your team. But let's go back in time and talk about some of the people that were integral parts of your upbringing and your leadership that led to you being the guy that you are today and the coach that you are.
Well, first and foremost, it's going to start with my mother and my father. My mother was a school teacher down at Albany Tech. My father, he was a retired military officer. And from there, he ran the diversion center out on Chautauqua Road. So, I mean, I had a strict upbringing for the most part. But other than that right there, my coaches in high school, I mean, Coach Philip Marion, Coach Leo Ellaby, Coach Collins Jones, all these are, you know, homegrown, you know, coaches right here in Columbus, Georgia. And they definitely made an impact on my life and my viewpoints on how things should go. And actually, Coach Collins Jones and Coach Leo Ellaby, we actually got a chance to work together because we all ended up at Jordan together for a short amount of time.
That is awesome, man. And I'm Jordan's near and dear to my heart. It seems like all my aunts and my mom graduated from Jordan. My granddad coach at Jordan. And Jordan is a very special school, but I want you to talk about the administration over at Jordan that makes it special, and any shout outs to assistant coaches or people that maybe help out with the wrestling program as well.
No doubt. Coach Matt, he came aboard last year. He's also our head football coach. His son, Trey, you know, both his sons, they wrestled in high school. And Coach Mack and I, we gel very well together. And, you know, most wrestling coaches, we are funny about who we bring around our kids, because if you don't, and just coaches in general, but if you don't have the right mix in coaching staff, that can destroy your program also. And we all know that. So I'm always hesitant in who I bring around my kids, because I don't want someone to come in for a little while, my kids get attached to them, and then next thing you know, they're off and they're leaving. You know, I want someone who's going to endure and going to stay and is going to, you know, be there with the kids, because with our kids, sometimes they have adults that go in and out of their lives, and we're not trying to continue that. We're trying to change that. We want someone to be that steady, that, you know, the one that's going to be the consistent one there for their support on a regular basis, not just when we're winning, you know, but all the time, no matter what. And that's what I really and truly stress with my coaches that I bring upon my staff.
If you're just joining us, we have with us the athletic director from Jordan High School and, of course, an accomplished coach, Coach Russell Scott. Coach, this is a basketball, baseball, football town per se. However, if you had an opportunity, your mic is on and you're talking to parents out there, can you give them some of the advantages, some of the things that you think that are necessary in the development and growth of young men and women as it pertains to wrestling?
Oh, definitely. I had a coach that I ran into years ago, and he was the football coach. And he told me, he said, you know what, and I've been doing this for years. He said in the off season, all of his football players that do not play basketball, he said they have to wrestle. He says because and this is my train of thought. If anybody can handle someone else one-on-one out there on the mat and you're getting strong, then when it comes to football or when it comes to track, when it comes to any other sport, outside of wrestling, it's only going to make them better. The discipline, as far as the eating regimen, you could be the best athlete in the world, but in wrestling, if you don't make the weight, then you don't wrestle, so there's a whole different element right there with just making the weight. There's only a few sports like boxing and wrestling where you have weight classes. So making the weight class along with being strong, being talented, being, skillful, all that comes into play. So that discipline, if you can handle wrestling, is nothing you can't do. And I'm not saying it because I'm a wrestling coach, but I have other people that their main sport, it might be another sport, and they say the exact same thing about wrestling.
As we compete, or as you compete in wrestling, for the folks that don't know, how many weight classes are there? Both is it the same for boys and girls?
It is now. Year before last, it was only 10 weight classes for the girls and 14 weight classes for the boys. But now we have an even 14 girl weight classes and 14 boys.
Now, what are the rules any different when you talk about actually the physicality of the sport?
No, everything is the same. All the rules are based on the same, wrestling principles. Getting your takedowns, getting your back points, getting your escapes, getting your pins. All of the rules are the exact same for both boys and girls.
Anything big coming up here that the community would want to come out and see?
Yeah, we're going to be having the area tournament for the boys. That'll be here in Columbus, and for the girls, we have to travel to Callaway on Saturday.
Well, Coach,
I'm sorry. Let's flip that. Boys on Saturday, girls on Friday. Yes, sir.
Well, Coach, we wanted to bring you on to celebrate you here on the SportsVisions Morning Show, and hopefully we'll continue to have you on as you continue to take your talents to the next level, if you will.
Appreciate it. I
appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Coach Russell Scott from Jordan High School.
Thank
you, Coach.
All right, brother. Y'all have a good
night. All right, now we'll go ahead and take our final break of the day. You're watching Facebook Live and you're listening to WLTC HD2, SportsVisions 92.1. This is the SportsVisions Morning Show.
This is the SportsVisions Morning Show.
Let's do this.
SportsVisions 92.1.
BK Custom Rims and Accessories, located at 1806 Crawford Road in Phoenix City, specializes in all the name brand wheels and have the best prices on tires. For great prices, great service, and good deals, get to BK Custom Rims and Accessories, 1806 Crawford Road, Phoenix City. BK Custom Rims and Accessories, along with KG Music Group, are the proud sponsors of the Southern Soul Cafe 2nd Edition on 92.1 Smooth R&B.
Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded.
With hers, you can access doctor-trusted weight loss plans, like compounded GLP-1 weekly injections with the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy. Based on pricing through hers, save up to 91% per month with compounded semaglutide, the same active ingredient as the name brand drug. Get started at forhers.com/start today. That's forhers.com/start.
When you buy a new house, you might say,
"Shut the front door."
"Winning."
No, seriously, shut the front door. We own this house now.
But you actually need to say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
That's right. The local State Farm agent is there to help you choose the coverage you need.
Welcome to my crib. No one says that anymore, but I don't care.
So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Your home for Falcons football. SportsVisions 92.1. Now back to the SportsVisions Morning Show. Here's Chattahoochee Valley Sports Hall of Famer DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Good morning and welcome back to the final segment of the Sports Visions Morning Show. DJ Jones, Thrift Barringer. Big shout out to Coach Russell Scott over at Jordan High School. Also, big shout out to Tyler Redmond with the WRBL sports team. Bear O'Brien, the legendary one himself, of course, longtime radio host right here in the Chattahoochee Valley, more importantly with PMB Broadcasting right here. Our teammate and brother, of course, came on, dropped some really, really fantastic nuggets on us. And, of course, Bear, we appreciate you and love you.
Yep.
Richard Holdridge, our guy, he's our Swiss Army knife thrift. And I know with guys like that, that's when you say teamwork makes the dream work, guys like Richard Holdridge is what you see in the dictionary. That's a picture of what you see.
Yeah,
when
Big Rich.
When you open it up. Hey, man, we've had a fantastic show. And, of course, we're down to the final segment of the show. And, again, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us out there this morning. And Thrift, I know at some point we're going to acknowledge the folks that are online that had the opportunity to participate, but we're still wanting you to engage with us because as we have different points, different topics that come up and different things that are going on in the city with sports and that type of thing. Hey, you know what? You got a voice. 706-324-1420. 706-324-1420 is the number to call and jump on, and we'll give you an opportunity to say what you have to say.
Exactly right. And want to shout out to Miss Candy Lowe, who says, good morning, everyone. Thank you to Aunt Candy. Also, thank you to Richard Holdridge for tuning in for us. Also, thank you to Coach Andre Dye. Diane Brown says, tuned in this morning, enjoying Sports Visions. Natalie, thank you, baby. Good morning. And Gerald Bedgood says, listening from the north side. So we appreciate all the comments. We'll give you shouts out. Make sure to download the Sports Visions radio app in your app store today. Apple and Spotify podcasts. All you got to do is go on there, type in the Sports Visions Morning Show, like and subscribe. You'll get notifications. Listen to our show commercial free, DJ. And then also the Sports Visions Facebook page and Sports Visions 921 Facebook page. Also, pmb/sites.com is the name of the website. You click on the Sports Visions tab. A lot of ways to be able to listen to us. Tune in radio app, Alexa, whatever it may be. Say the Sports Visions Morning Show, Sports Visions 92.1 FM. You're going to find us.
And we certainly appreciate you if you would just follow those instructions. Thrift, we got a Super Bowl that's set in 2 weeks down in New Orleans. And, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles will be going down to play a team that has an opportunity to make history. And this is the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and the rest of the game, Andy Reid. Hey, man, listen, 3 Super Bowl in a row. Never been done before.
Never.
But the Kansas City Chiefs have a chance to do that.
And honestly, I'm trying to think back. And I was thinking earlier today, has there been a team that has made it to 3 straight Super Bowls after winning 2 in a row? The Bills made 4 straight, so no one's ever done that, made 4 straight, but they didn't win any. I'm trying to remember back a time which I don't think that's ever happened, where the team that's won back-to-back, whether it be the Dolphins, the Patriots, neither team made it to the Super Bowl that 3rd year. So I think this is history already, them making it. The first team since the Bills to make it 3 straight Super Bowls. But not only that, to try to win it and do it again, that's going to be pretty incredible. The Patriots, you know what, I stand corrected. They did make it just a few years ago, 2016, 17, 18. They made it 3 straight Super Bowls, won 16 and 18, lost 17. But so we'll see with the Chiefs. If they win 3 consecutive, you got to start putting that GOAT talk with Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady now.
I tell you what, I'm very, very fortunate in my lifetime to obviously see not just this great team do their thing, because I grew up and saw what the Dallas Cowboys were able to do, the Pittsburgh Steelers were able to do, of course, certainly the New England Patriots, what they were able to do with under Belichick and with Brady. But certainly when you talk about Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, man, they are rewriting history.
Yeah, exactly. And he's made 7 straight NFC championships. It's similar to the way Brady started his career. I mean, he started his career, DJ, from 2001 to 2000, I would say about 7 for that injury. He made multiple Super Bowls. He played in 4 of them, won 3, played in 5 AFC championship games. Only 2 years did he not make it. It was an incredible start in his first 7 years. But Mahomes has done it and taken even another level. 5 out of 6 years in the Super Bowl, 3 Super Bowl championships, trying to get that 4th and made it to the conference championship every year. They've never lost a divisional round game. He is undefeated. And right now, DJ, he has, I think it's a 9-game winning streak in the playoffs, which is the longest in NFL history.
Well, the Super Bowl, as we know it now, of course, was created back in the mid 1960, 1967, of course, and there was a merger between the NFL and the AFL. And again, as we know it, the Super Bowl is one of the most watched television broadcasts in history. And we're talking hundreds of millions of viewers. And Thrift, it's just incredible. And again, I just wonder how much a 60-second commercial is going to cost you this year. Because obviously, in the last few years, I've been hearing it, and it has been astronomical.
It has been. And also, Tom Brady's making his Super Bowl debut because it is on Fox. So for those who are like, it was just on Fox 2 years ago, when is it going to go back to NBC? I thought they rotate. I thought the same thing. I'm like, how Fox just did it 2 years ago? It should be a rotation. Well, because of the new collective bargaining agreement, the new TV deal, ABC, ESPN got added in it. So now 4 teams are on rotation, and it started last year. So CBS, Fox, next year NBC, and then ABC, and it starts over again. So we're going to get Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady, and we're going to see, because he's the GOAT Super Bowl, and he'll be calling Mahomes. So I'm wondering in his mind, he's never going to say it, but in the back of his head, he's hoping Mahomes doesn't win this. Because, come on, you're competitive still, D. You want to be the GOAT.
You know what? As an athlete, you always, and again, and this is me and my humble opinion, is that you always want to see somebody push the envelope. Obviously, whether you hold a record, I mean, you say you don't want your record broken, but if it's, if you're performing and you're being entertaining and you're doing it the right way, why not? But this is what I don't like. I don't like the fact that people are down talking Patrick Mahomes. They're down talking the Kansas City Chiefs. They're worried about, obviously, if Brady's going to be a good broadcaster or not. But the bottom line is, I would much rather have a guy who's been there, done it, got the T-shirt, and can explain and elaborate based on based on him being there and in those positions and able to articulate, those plays, those situations, those times of the game in the heated moments. I trust Tom Brady, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too, and it's going to be a lot of fun. That's happening in 2 weeks because Pro Bowl's next week. So we got February the 9th is when the Super Bowl is going to be. You already got plans, DJ, or you like flying by the seat of your pants?
Plans like that, I'm not going because, again, a couple of years ago, my bubble was burst. When we, as a former player, we had an allotment of tickets that we were able to purchase for face value, which obviously, we were able to participate and partake in Super Bowl festivities. Yeah. Now it's such a corporate thing, and maybe I need to raise a little hell with this platform as well. Yeah. Too, so that the old players, we don't, because again, the NFL as we know it today, and all the big money and all the games of Super Bowl were built on the shoulders of guys like myself and others.
Exactly right.
Well, Thrift, you hear the music, you know what that means. That's going to do it for this edition of the SportsVisions Morning Show. On behalf of Thrift Barringer, I'm DJ Jones, reminding you to keep your eye on the ball. I need you in the morning, but I need you now.
Be sure to check out the SportsVisions Morning Show with DJ Jones and Thrift Barringer.
Everyone here is the best there is.
6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on SportsVisions 92.1.
Time is of the essence.
Hit the road this year with incredible offers from Rivertown Ford. Unleash impressive performance and capabilities with $9,000 off MSRP. That's right, $9,000 on a new 2024 F-150 4x4 Super Crew STX. Now just $46,895. Or explore the all-electric 2024 Mustang Mach-E with up to $4,000 off MSRP on all models. That's right, up to $4,000. Plus 0% financing for 72 months for approved, well-qualified buyers. Take advantage of these offers and more before they expire February 3rd. And remember, you'll never pay retail at Rivertown Ford, both at our Columbus showroom or online at rivertownford.com.